All right, we are up. We are up. We are up. I'm just gonna get some stuff pulled up, and we're gonna go over it. Oops. All right, we're gonna get into some stuff here. Let me get what I got going on going. We'll see how long it takes for us to get in the channel or in the algorithm here. I'm doing dual output so I can do clips as well. So I'm hoping everything goes good. So yeah, show some love and support to your boy. Come on, bro. There we go. Welcome in, Galaxy. All right, so we're gonna go over a few things here. One of the first things is Candace going over the Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson trials. I haven't really went over any of her streams, so we're gonna go over them. And also, we're going to listen to a little bit of what J.D. Vance had to say on Joe Rogan about the Epstein files. So, it's going to be very interesting. We're going to kind of just, like, get through these. We're going to kind of just try and get through these streams here. See if I can run today's stream good. But yeah, anyone who's new to the channel, man, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button with the notification bell and show some love and support. Help me reach my super chat goal of 10 super chats, any color, doesn't matter. Get your name on the donor wall and help support the channel, man. Oh, everything is messed up here or what? Okay. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. Don't know why this is goofed up, but hey, technology, right? Yeah, we're gonna get into the Candace stuff. And watch that. I don't know how big I want to make myself. We'll kind of finagle around with it. We'll go right here. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. Like I said, I haven't watched any of the Candace streams talking about the Tyler Robinson case, which I kind of, you know, wanted to save for on stream because you know how we rock, man. We go through this shit together. Curious to see what she has to say about how the defense is doing and whatnot. So but yeah, we're here, man. We're back. We're running it up, guys. Appreciate everybody for being here, man. God bless every single one of you. Jesus is King. Christ is King. The Lord and Savior blesses us of every day with oxygen in our lungs, blood pumping through our body. We got this. I appreciate everybody for being here. Like I said, man, run those likes up. Hit the like button. Double tap your motherfucking screen and show some love and support, man. I appreciate you guys. God bless everybody. Jesus is King. Let me get a Jesus is King in the motherfucking chat. Let's go. All right, it looks like I got everything fixed. If there's any problems, let me know in the chat. And yeah, let's go from here, man.
All right, you guys, I am finally back. I am so happy to be back. Things tend to get a little crazy when I go away. I have to tell you, when I jumped online and I saw all of the X trends, I wasn't exactly certain whether last week represented the preliminary trial of Tyler Robinson or Candace Owens. I mean, is everybody okay? Why do I seem to have this sort of an effect on middle-aged men? Did you see this? This is real. Those are my former employers, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies, can I just say that if your husband is striking poses in the mirror to look like Candace Owens, you have got to get him off of the internet. Anyway, can I just begin by saying the quiet part out loud? Please forgive me, I have to say it. Regarding the preliminary hearing, if you find yourself having to invite literal social media influencers into a courthouse, Erica, as in the actual job description of these human beings is to influence the masses about products or ideas, if you feel compelled to invite Benny Johnson, Department of War consultant Graham Allen, Brandon Tatum, people.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Well, I said it last stream. You know, the main thing I said was, yo, why is it seems like they're having these celebrities pull up to the courthouse before court and roll out the red carpet for them, right? Like Brandon Tatum shows up, gets out of the car, immediately does the Instagram reel thing, or, you know, does content as soon as he gets out of the car. Oh, we need to get justice. Bro, this is a court proceeding that Charlie Kirk's parents, don't mind my tan line, are going to, all right? So at the end of the day, like, you feel compelled to invite all these people, have them come, roll out the red carpet per se for them. When they pull up, allow them to do their content, and then when they come out of the court hearing, after it's done, it's just a whole media frenzy. Who cares what the fuck Brandon Talmud Tatum has to say? Okay, no one gives a shit. No one cares, bro. Okay? Like, you inviting all these compromised people to the court proceedings to make a little red carpet rollout for your guys' agenda is just disingenuous.
Who you, for whatever reason, I'm not judging, did not choose to invite to Charlie's private funeral mass, but extended an invitation for them to come to the courthouse, the public may rightfully have some questions about your intent. Like right off the bat, that's an interesting move, Erica, right? Benny Johnson came right out of the gate and said, Erica asked me to be here. Okay, really? Why? Why did Erica Kirk request your presence there? I would have asked my cousins, my close friends, some people I went to high school with, some aunts and uncles that don't annoy me to be there, but influencers, I don't think so. It's giving, I'm finally going to wear black, but I'm going to invite the glittery pantsuit. You know what I mean? It still feels like a show. And you guys, I have to tell you, I'm getting old. I really am. And one thing that I have learned in my ripe old age is that the truth never requires a marketing campaign. There's just never a budget line item for truth. Of course, the single craziest piece of news over the last week, and plausibly since the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, is that Ben Shapiro, who just makes everyone's skin crawl in a unique way, has offered up an unusual confession that as Charlie Kirk, his enemy, lay dying and bleeding in the backseat of the car en route to the hospital, an approximate 7-minute ride, someone in Charlie's car was providing Ben's security with updates over the phone while Charlie was in the car. That's massive. I gotta say, for those of us who believe that there is mounting evidence that Israel put a hit on Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro receiving updates while Charlie was dying is not going to go a long way in terms of clearing up any conspiracies. So welcome back to Candace. Much to unpack this week. But you know what? Let's begin with a basic definition, class. What does it mean to be overwhelmed? Like, actually, let's just start with the root word, whelm. The verb to whelm. Let's just pull a definition of that. To whelm is a verb meaning to submerge, to engulf, or to completely cover something, often with a disastrous effect. It can also mean to overpower or to overcome someone in thought or in feeling. So right now, there is a seemingly infinite number of influencers on social media.
And again, guys, like I said, like the stream, man. Anyone that's new to the stream, double tap your screen, show some love and support. If you're watching the long form version, make sure you like the stream. If you're watching on your TV, your phone, support the channel, man. We're on the road to 20K subs. Like I said, man, we're going to go over these last 3 streams Candace did. We're going to run through them, give our synopsis of it, and then go through what J.D. Vance had to say about the Epstein files, which I found crazy. and everything else, man. So it's going to be pretty interesting stream today. A lot of good clips, a lot of good times. Say what's up in the chat. I appreciate you guys for being here. God bless you guys.
Watched the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing last week, and they reported back to us common folk that they came away from it and they were effectively drowning. They were submerged. They were engulfed. They were completely buried by the avalanche of undeniable evidence that Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk. I mean, they were so consumed that they all just began using that exact same adjective to express themselves. It is overwhelming. In fact, that has really been the key word since last year, right? It is the new wear a mask, save lives, 6 feet social distancing. The evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming. Check out this little collage we put together of influencers who apparently need to pop a Xanax, right? The evidence is becoming overwhelming against Tyler Robinson. Thanks, Graham. Steve Deese, the podcast, today's podcast, an overwhelming evidence against Tyler Robinson. Paramount, not so tactical. The evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming. Gunther Eagleman, the evidence is overwhelming, to say the least. Kind of feels like he's saying the most. Jack is quoting Don Trump Jr. As having said the evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming. That's just one page. Allie Beth Stuckey, Mike Lee, the evidence against Tyler Robinson could not be more overwhelming. He couldn't be more submerged. Andrew Colbert, it's overwhelming against Robinson. Whoever Bren is, it's overwhelming. Susie, it's overwhelming. Clay Travis, it seems overwhelming. Some people.
I'm sorry, I watched all the preliminary hearings, bro. There's like, in what they provided, none of it seems overwhelming, really. I feel like the preliminary hearings and everything else kind of just left us with like a whole, what does the defense have on the prosecution? Because it seemed like the defense was poking a lot of holes and bringing up a lot of different things that could be contradicting what the prosecution's trying to say. So, I mean, I feel like we were left with more questions than answers on the overwhelming, quote unquote, evidence against Tyler Robinson, right?
Even went so far as to report that it was actually the most overwhelming thing that they have ever witnessed in their entire lives in the courtroom. Take it away, Josh Hammer, who happens to look like a Bond villain. Take a listen.
So to reiterate and to summarize what we've already said, the evidence presented this week, just during the pre-trial evidentiary hearings in the Charlie Kirk assassin trial, the trial of Tyler Robinson, is the most overwhelming presentation that I have ever seen this early on during a legal proceeding in my entire life. Life.
Whoa, like his whole life. This is it. This is that moment. So I was in Spain and I said, let me buckle in. I too wish to experience that tidal wave of the exact same emotion being shared by all of these people. Apparently, though, me and Carrie Preaching Bowler, who I was traveling with, we watched an entirely different hearing. I don't know if it's different in Spain. I had wondered. Is it different if you don't have the eyes of Zionists? Because I did notice a little corollary, right? Amongst Zionists, there is an increased sense of the whelming happening when it comes to Tyler Robinson. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? Let's begin with a refresher on what exactly the Fed narrative was going into this hearing. Like, you have to remember the stuff that they say because they very quickly move on from these things. Okay, foremost, we were told over and over again that Tyler Robinson was turned in by his own family and that he confessed to the crime. At various points, we were told his mother recognized him on the news. His father turned him in and they both made official police statements against their son. In fact, Bill Ackman, King of the Hamptons, immediately pledged $1 million to Tyler Robinson's father, Matt Robinson. Someone should check in on that $1 million, by the way. He pledged that for the brave act of Matt Robinson having turned in his son. Anyways, here's a clip of people telling us that that's what happened, and we were going to find that out.
I was having a discussion about how I, just as a father, how incredible it was to see, and just almost unbelievable it was to see Tyler Robinson's parents play a role in turning over their son.
Tyler Robinson and the video and footage of him were identified also by his parents as being Tyler Robinson.
Tyler Robinson's parents see that photo and think, that looks like Tyler. They begin asking him things like, where is I believe it was his grandfather's gun. Mm-hmm. They start asking him this. Tyler Robinson starts talking like he might kill himself. They get a friend of the family to sit down with him. He actually...
Hey, you guys. Welcome into the channel, man. God bless everybody in here. Jesus is King. Make sure you say what's up in the chat. Double tap your screens. Get those likes up, man. Help propel me into the algorithm. I appreciate you guys for being here, man. Please consider donating to help me reach my 10 super chat goal of any color. Get your name written down on the donor wall. Any large donos, go to the Ko-Fi link in my bio. But I love you guys, man. Make sure you say what's up in the chat. Make sure you guys go ahead and support the channel and say what's up to your boy. Let's try and hit 100 likes. Welcome back, Skippy. Bitches ain't loyal. Don't trip on a woman. Bro, all I'm saying is that how you going to be a part of the family for 5,000 subscribers and all of a sudden, like, you just, like, you're part of the family every single day for months, and then you just stop and you go to a different channel because you're a mod there. Like, get the fuck out of here, you stupid bitch. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I better stop. But that's just how I feel. Over here on the See Me Now channel, right here, it's about loyalty. It's not about sitting here and getting subscribers and getting money. And if it was, I wouldn't be doing it right now. But we're on the come up. 11K subs. Skippy's been here since the beginning, damn near. A lot of people have. I look at you guys like family. Over here on the See Me Now channel, this is a family. This is something that I look forward to coming to every day and talking with you guys, kicking it with you guys, and finding the truth with you guys. But if these people are going to be coming on here acting like that, if you're going to be a sub and then just not be loyal, don't sub to my channel. I'm growing a family on here. All right? I appreciate you, John Masterson. God bless you. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the family. That's what we need here is loyalty. God bless you, John. But yeah, no, that's all I have to say, man. Like, you know, Pumpkin was a real big part of the channel for a long time. And then all of a sudden, like, she just ditches us. Like, nah, bro. I all that shit. Get the fuck out of here, bro. It's just me and you, Skip, and Stacy. Love you, man.
He admits that it's him. They get him to drive up to Orem and turn himself in. His parents helped him turn him in.
They say no face, no case. No, his parents said, that's my son. And then he turned himself in. Taking responsibility for shooting Charlie Kirk.
So we have 3 confessions here, one to his parents, one to his roommate, and one on Discord. Those local sheriffs were the ones who took the first statements from Robinson's parents, which identified Robinson as the shooter and provided the motive.
By the way, Allie, do you think that the parents of Tyler Robinson, if he was not guilty, would be making a stink about this if he was innocent? Have you heard a word from the parents? No, the parents were the ones that turned him in.
I wonder how much the government allegedly offered his parents to turn him in, quote unquote.
Him in, made statements against their son. Okay. The Fed narrative also stipulated that this was the left, right? We were supposed to instantly go to war over this. The right versus the left. It was a politically motivated killing. Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk. First crime he's ever committed. Decided to do that in broad daylight. In a burning rage over LGBTQ rights, particularly trans rights.
Make sure you guys double tap the screen, man. Show some love and support.
Lance Twiggs. Some hate just can't be negotiated. He wrote via text, like, this is why I did it. Charlie Kirk, I took my shot because I can't stand to hear the hatred that Charlie Kirk spews regarding trans people. We were constantly reminded that there was going to be footage also of Tyler Robinson taking that shot, that it had simply not been presented to the public yet because it wouldn't have been appropriate at that early phase. We just had to wait, to be patient. Erica herself told us back in November or December that she had seen the evidence and she was convinced it was Tyler Robinson by the time she sat down for that interview with Barry Weiss. Her mind was made up. That's the guy. No foreign involvement, no involvement of others. She doesn't need to see anything. Now, we were also told that Tyler's fingerprints and his DNA were found on the gun, and that was presented rather exclusively. They never wanted to mention any other prints, just case closed. This is our guy. We're overwhelmed. Okay, now what was our narrative here on the show? Because after months and countless hours of working on this case, chasing down every plausible lead, I maintained that Tyler Robinson's parents did not turn him in, okay? That was a mainstreamed lie. I said rather he was peer pressured to come in by Mike Mitchell, the former undercover detective with the police force and also a family friend of the Robinsons because he was Tyler Robinson's Boy Scout leader growing up. I maintained that Mike Mitchell actually was the one who was told that they were going to bring in Tyler Robinson. And he then went to Tyler Robinson's parents and said, look, you can do this the easy way or you can do this the hard way. No matter what, they're going to bring you in. So you're going to have a circumstance where they're going to bust in the door. Your parents could get hurt. You could get hurt in that process. Or you
Welcome back, Appalachia TV. Much love. Welcome back. Long time no see to you, brother. Welcome back to the channel, bro. I love you, bro. Make sure you hit the like button. Say what's up in the chat. How you been doing? How was your 4th of July? I hope you've been doing good. And John Masterson, I know I like Jelly Roll's music a lot. I don't listen to all of it, but I have a few songs from that I really like. And I feel like he got a good heart. But there's also drama behind the scenes. Like, I guess with him and or Ryan Upchurch, whatever the fuck his name is. You know, it is what it is, bro. But I like his music. I'm glad you got to go have fun at his concert. But Appalachia TV, man, welcome back. I love you, brother. Again, guys, I see 40 of you in here. Everybody, all you beautiful people, just double tap the screen. Hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 20K subs, man. Double tap the screen. Hit the subscribe button. Like the stream. Come on, let's get to 100 likes. My mind is fucked right now. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, double tap the screen. Hit subscribe button with notification bell so you can be a part of every single live stream. And support the channel, man. I love you guys. Can I get a Jesus is King in the chat?
And willfully come in. And he agreed.
I'm glad everything's
to
good, bro.
Willfully go in, not confessing to a crime, but not wanting them to burst into his home and potentially harm him or his parents because he wasn't suicidal.
My past few months is good, man. I got my driver's license back a while ago now, so I'm doing good on that. My Suburban's doing good. My kids are doing great. Everything's good, man. God is good. Blessed every day. No matter what I feel like is an inconvenience to my life, I'm blessed in every other way.
I also expressed to you that Tyler Robinson was not political, crucial, and that he came from a family of Trumpers. I want to be clear that I have never denied that the gun found was indeed Tyler Robinson's gun, but rather I have asserted that the gun was not fired on that day and was not used to kill Charlie Kirk. Particularly, we stressed on this show that he had simply inherited the gun as a family heirloom because he is the firstborn son, but that Tyler himself was actually more of a fisherman. His brothers were the hunters. I also have suggested heavily from the beginning that Lance Twiggs is a federal asset who gathered Tyler's belongings to pin the crime on him. A very easy feat because he was his roommate and his boyfriend. And I suspect that Lance himself is heavily blackmailed because he was into some dark web stuff. I also noted the rather strange predicament that every single piece of evidence that the influencers are pushing relies on Lance Twiggs, who himself probably should be considered a person that might be guilty of participating in the events on that day, who for some reason was immediately granted immunity by the feds. He was not allowed to even be cross-examined at this stage for this hearing. Despite arguments made that his testament would amount to hearsay, they allowed it to fly at this phase of, this is preliminary, we're just going to see if we go on. Now, regarding what took place on that day, we suggested that the feds intentionally flooded the zone with multiple decoys. Different young men, all brunette, all wearing similar outfits. We termed these our maroon boys, right? Decoys. Photos of 3 of them in a row right here. I said, why were so many men dressed like Tyler Robinson on this day? We showed you footage of many more of these men wandering, all of who fit the description of what we're about to see. And our biggest claim that we probably made on the show was that Tyler Robinson did not step foot onto campus on that day. At least that is what he told his family. He was around campus, but not physically on campus himself. So in short, it should have been remarkably easy for people to debunk us, right? On this, very easy. While I was sitting there actually expecting, open and willing to have to concede at least 1 point for my investigation. I mean, I worked really hard to be perfectly accurate, but I was like, maybe he lied to his parents and he was actually driving on campus that day. All they needed to present to make me look foolish was one clear photo of Tyler Robinson on campus. What we got instead was footage of unidentifiable brunette males walking up and down the Losey Center steps at various points throughout the day. What was presented in court was a compilation video, which I would like to note was Exhibit 12.4 in court. Exhibit 12.4, that's going to become relevant later when we talk about the influencers who have sold their souls to the devil. 12.4 was a compilation of blurry male, or males, plural, going up and down stairs, and people said, that's Tyler Robinson. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at this video of the males in 12.4 moving throughout the day, going up and down the steps. Here we go. And we're speeding this up, I think, right? Or we cut it short. This is the undeniable evidence that it's Tyler Robinson. And by the way, if you're feeling overwhelmed, please sit down and have a glass of water. We don't want anybody passing away looking at this. Undeniable. They're like, this is Tyler Robinson. This is just like attempt at hypnosis. You're getting very sleepy. That's Tyler Robinson. That's Tyler Robinson. That's him. That's him. And by the way, I want to be clear. I can't meaningfully deny that could be Tyler Robinson. It could also be Lance Twiggs. It could be Ethan Hawke, Tom Holland.
One thing I was saying about all this, right? Because I went over all the stuff. I went over it all. Okay. One thing I'm gonna say is that the pictures that we took that day of the stairwell footage and everything else is not like, it's just undeniable that they look different. Those two people are not the same, in my humble crackhead opinion, right? And not only that, but back to when we were talking about, is there footage of Tyler Robinson on the roof? When we were in court and Tyler Robinson's defense was asking the British investigator if anyone had seen Tyler Robinson on the roof. Had they seen him? But then she said, well, if you didn't see him, did you look at the footage? Alluring to that maybe the footage did have evidence of a different person being on the roof at that time. So like I said, going into the court hearing and what's going to be going on is going to be very interesting, because I feel like, I just feel like there's a lot more that the defense has, then they're leading on, right? Anyways, make sure you guys double tap that screen, show some love and support, man. There's 73 of you in here. Jesus is king. Just double tap your screen. If everybody in here right now just double tap their screen, would be close to 100 likes, man. Show some love and support. Support the channel. Hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 20K. Most importantly, 100K. Let's do this.
Timothy Chalamet in preparation for the final installment of Dune. Could be any. I couldn't reasonably deny that it's any of those young men or any.
Oh, I know Appalachia. I'm going to cover that too.
The boys on campus that day, who I speculated all looked to me like they belonged in a military unit. Speaking of which, I think I forgot to mention to you guys that on the top floor of the Losey Center, of all things, it's UVU's military affiliated student hub, known as their MASH Center. It's literally a dedicated student center for student veterans and their families. So that's it. That's what we saw. We saw brunette males, maybe brunette males. I mean, could be a dirty blonde. I'm not ruling any A-listers out of being involved on this day. Actually, I'm just not convinced. Now, Lance, the star possible Fed witness, basically says it looks like Tyler in terms of his clothes. Like I recognize some of these clothes. He liked to wear jeans. I kid you not.
And that was another thing too that I was when we were watching the court hearings and before Lance Twiggs came on, I said straight up, I called it. I said, we haven't heard anything from Lance. They took a buccal swab from him, but they didn't arrest him. Like he's like one of the other main people of interest, and they didn't arrest him. We haven't heard from him. I said, this court hearing's all for theatrics, and if you want to know how it's, if we want to prove it, they're going to make Lance Twiggs appear in court for it to be seen by the public for the first time. And sure as shit, the next court hearing, Lance Twiggs is there. No emotion, no sort of any emotion at all. Sounds like this. Like, doesn't sound like a furry, like, bro, I'm sorry, bro, but... And the video was grainy. Bro, I can get a better video off my old fucking webcam from 1976 that was dusty and just plugged into my computer than what they got at that court hearing. It was ridiculous. You thought I was on video call? I'm hacking your phone, bro.
That was his testimony. Take a listen.
Do you recognize the person in these images?
I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty just because of camera quality, but that looks like him in terms of the shoes he's wearing, the sunglasses. I don't think I'd specifically seen him wearing that hat, but he was usually...
And that's the thing, like, with his wording, too. Like, oh, I can't say, 100% certainty, blah, 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 blah. You're leaving plausible deniability. My main thing when I was watching some of these preliminary hearings was, God, what if Tyler Robinson beats the case? Like, if they want him to be the patsy, obviously he's not gonna. He's gonna go to prison no matter what. Allegedly, like, all this is figment of my imagination. I'm just speculating here. But it's like, there seems to be so much different holes being poked in everything. It just does not seem like there's a concrete case here, And the fact that when we watched Lance's testimony, it was just like, wow, dude, this guy's got to be on some SSRIs, or he's like fucking some sort of CIA, something.
Wearing a hat, and then jeans. So it definitely, especially the bottom, the last two, definitely do look like him.
I will be right back, guys. I'm going to let this play.
Well, I say it's open and shut. He made it very clear that Tyler wears jeans, that he wears those shoes worn by, we should probably look up how many millions of people wear those. I mean, I think I had 20 pairs of those shoes throughout my lifetime, but he doesn't recognize the hat, not one of his hats, but he does like to wear jeans. And what are those Chucks he's wearing? Like, there we go. That rules it out. Really convincing. So I'm thinking, let's move beyond that, okay? Blurry video compilation 12.4. Surely they're going to be able to show us Tyler's car on campus, because what would be the point of a parking lot surveillance system that doesn't capture the license plates on cars? That would just be foolish and a waste of our time. Why would you even have an entire surveillance system installed on campus that can't identify any faces or any cars at all? So the question is, did we get a clear photo? I was like, maybe he was actually driving around camp. No, we got more blurry images of what appears to be, judging by the car's exhaust pipes, a totally different Dodge Challenger from the one that Tyler Robinson was driving, okay? Here is what was shown. This is a car, this is his Dodge Challenger, and I want you to pay attention to those exhaust pipes at the bottom. We're going to zoom in there,
Eliza.
okay? You are noticing that is a dual exhaust pipe. You see two, right? These are your eyes. I know the final instruction is don't believe your own eyes, but I'm asking you to believe your own eyes here. Well, Robinson's car, here's a still of the car, which is clearer, which was towed out of his driveway, features not a dual exhaust pipe exhaust system, but it's singular. Okay, that's a major discrepancy that people are rightfully pointing out, amongst other things. I got tons of emails from car people.
Holy shit, I didn't even notice that part. That's why I'm glad we're going over these streams to get all the information from the one and only Candace. Guys, there's 100 of you in here. Just take your phone and double tap your screen. That's all you gotta do. Show some love and support. Get those likes up. Let's try and hit 100 likes, man. Make sure you hit the subscribe button with notification bell and show some love and support, man. We're trying to get to 20K subs. Support the motherfucking channel, man. I have a 10 super chat goal of any color. Get your name written on the dono wall. Any large super chats, though, go to the link in my bio to my Ko-Fi. But hey, man, I see everybody getting in here, man. Hit the like button, man. Quit playing around.
Giving me specifics about why this, you basically, when you order the car, you can order different things. We don't need to get into the nitty gritty. Just believe your own eyes on the car front. Now, if you're thinking, Candace, are you suggesting that someone else could have, I don't know, rented
then use your nose, new meat,
and been driving around gray Dodge Challenger just so they could get images and say that it was Tyler Robinson's car? Well, actually, you don't need me to suggest it. Actually, a witness confirmed that they saw someone else driving a gray Challenger, particularly a bald guy driving the Challenger late at 12:47 a.m. You know, there was that
welcome in, Allison
video that captured him returning to campus or at 12:47 a.m. around campus. The woman who captured that footage testified to police that she saw a bald man accompanied by 3
I appreciate the heart, Allison. Thank you so much for the floating heart. Much love, girl.
Other people in the car. Take a listen.
Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Ring camera that you obtained.
And by the way, this guy who has the accent, who's like I'm a special investigator, like some fucking 007 character coming into the woodworks here. I'm a lead investigator, special investigator, but I don't know any information. I don't know. I'm not aware. That's all he was fucking saying on stand the whole damn preliminary hearing.
And you interviewed a woman named Ms. No.
Sorry, I'll shut up. Appreciate you, Allison. Much love. I really do appreciate the support.
Is that right?
Make sure you guys like the stream, man. There's 100 of you in here. Double tap your screens.
To get that Ring camera that we watched with the car on the outside?
We interviewed her to verify the authenticity of the video, yes.
And were you involved in that interview?
With Miss Noble?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And do you recall what they told you about what they remember seeing in and around that car that night?
I don't recall. I just know we were there to verify the video. I didn't conduct an interview with Miss Noble at that time.
And do you remember that the Nobles told you that the driver of the vehicle was bald?
I do remember that being in the report, yes.
And you didn't mention that today when you were talking about that Ring camera, did you?
I did not.
And did they also tell you there were 3 other people in the car?
Yes, I believe they thought that was the case.
Dude, the fact that like it was admitted in court that Tyler Robinson had came down and spoken with somebody from TPUSA on the day Tyler Robinson came to the college and spoke with someone from TPUSA, but Blake Neff doesn't want to say who it was because he doesn't want to get anyone in trouble. Like, what? The person that you are alleging that just killed Charlie Kirk, the person you love so much, talked to somebody from TPUSA and you ain't saying nothing? Yeah, okay. Bro, you need to get DP'd.
Forgot to mention, when we showed you this evidence of Tyler Robinson's car, that the person who captured it said that they saw a bald man and 3 other people. By the way, paging Blake Neff, he did this weird X Live that we're going to talk about tomorrow where his memory gets really fuzzy that evening. Apparently, a few of the people at Turning Point USA, despite Charlie dying, went out later that night and don't necessarily recall what they were doing. I think we got to try to help them figure it out, okay? Anyway, we told you early on that it is highly unlikely, despite what looks to us to be like Fed drafted text messages, that Tyler returned to campus to, as his text messages say, watch the K-9 officers to babysit his rifle, because we broke the story that Tyler was eating a steak down in Panguitch. He concluded and paid at 9:47 p.m. There's a literal receipt for that because, as we said, he paid with his debit card. So we can timestamp him 3 hours away at 9:47 p.m. when he's apparently texting Lance. It's his 3-hour ride. So when Lance says that he gets his phone and he's getting an automated message and they start talking, and Tyler, he says the first message came in at 11 p.m. Well, 11 p.m., I can tell you right now that drop everything and look under your keyboard at 11 p.m.
Guys, there's 120 of you in here. Just take the phone and double tap the screen, man. Get those likes up. Let's try and hit 100 likes before the first hour ends, man. Show some love.
p.m. He says that's an automated message. And then him and Tyler begin texting. And he's like, oh, I'm babysitting things out here in Orem. I'm waiting to go back and get my... Like, how is that possible? If at nearly 10 p.m. he's leaving Panguitch.
We're seeing 81 more
he couldn't have
beautiful
been
people
babysitting
like
the
stream.
campus. This is the problem. The messages are problematic, and that's why they're not time-stamped. He could not have been doing what he said he was doing, texting Lance after 11 p.m. Or he decided not to mention that he got pulled over by a police officer around 12:30, and he just was texting him in earnest. None of the text messages make sense, and we're going to need timestamps. By the way, just a little fun ad that the messages were apparently extracted by a company based in Tel Aviv. Israel is taking care of the Lance messages, guys. Trust the science. Let's pull these up, by the way. Let's pull these messages up, okay? 11 p.m., allegedly automated. Nobody knows why he sent an automated message. Drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard, he says. Lance, what? You're joking, right? F, I tried to delete that, Tyler comes back with. I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. It's very Gone with the Wind. I love that. I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long.
Sounds
until I
like a
can come home.
novel.
I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. Oh gosh, I know. He shouldn't have said old age because the Fed narrative is that he was suicidal. It's a bad thing to say that. You weren't the one who did this, right? I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude. They interrogated someone in similar clothing. I planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet. Almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. I'd like some timestamps here. I'd like to make it work with Tyler going to get a steak in Panguitch, driving 3 hours to Panguitch, and then turning around and coming back. Just 6 hours of driving and eating is not coming across in these messages. And then we have here, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate just can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, this feels to me like a person who is not native to speaking English, American English, is translating. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen is not what we say. That's just not how we speak. You can say it, but it's not how we would say it. I will have left no evidence, going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything in the news about them finding it. I will update you by midnight. Here is what I would like to do. It is very important for us to establish, because he is speaking about the canines, and I think I can, by the way, I can back channel because I talked about the canines on the show, and I can go back to that source. But if you have information related to when the canines were brought on to the scene, please email us, tips@CandaceOwens.com. That will allow us to get a timestamp in there, because he says he's observing the canines going back and forth. And this could be exculpatory evidence. The Panguitch steak, and I think my gut has been right from the beginning, our gut, everyone's gut, that these messages feel a little Fed sloppy Joe. More tips@CandaceOwens.com or tips@CandaceOwens.com if you know what time the officers had the canines there on the scene. Anyway, noticeably missing was any of that.
We're seeing 80 more beautiful people double tap their screens. Jesus is King. Help me get to 100 likes. Help propel me into the algorithm. Appreciate you guys for being here today. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me. Let's continue.
Shock testimony regarding Tyler's parents' statements turning their son in. Again, we got to get an update from Bill Ackman on the mill. That's a cool mill. It's a lot of money. To the contrary, there was plenty of testimony regarding how Lance Twiggs's prints were on everything: the towel, the gun, the Dremel that was used to carve out the messages on the cartridges. Lance claims, when his alibi is for that day when Charlie was shot or had an exploding mic, Lance claims that he slept in until 1 p.m. How convenient. Charlie gets hit at 12:23 and Lance actually slept 37 minutes beyond that on September 10th. So convenient. And then he woke up. Here are some more devastating points of this hearing, okay? Lance confirmed my report that Tyler was not political. If Lance is to be believed, then their entire leftist rage motive about LGBTQ rights virtually just disappeared. Okay, take a listen.
Did you and he ever talk about politics?
He did more than me. I don't really keep up with politics very much. He'd usually talk about stuff he heard on the radio on his drive to work in like their work car, since it sounds like their whole crew went in the same car most of the time. But I wouldn't say super consistently, because it wasn't a topic I really contributed much on.
What about Charlie Kirk? Did he ever talk about Charlie Kirk?
I personally had never heard him talk about Charlie Kirk before specifically.
Okay.
Like, that's the whole thing, dude. Like, and that's how you know it's bullshit, okay? Because how are you gonna sit there and text Lance, oh, I did it. I wanted to keep this a secret until, you know, I died, and I did it, Lance. I did it. I'm sorry, my love. How is he gonna spill the beans to Lance that quick over text, but he don't say nothing beforehand? He don't even give a fucking... He never even once said, man, Charlie Kirk's crappy, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's never once said nothing. That's just bullcrap to me, bro. I'm sorry. It's just bullshit to me. It is what it is, bro.
How about... political issues. So did you ever talk about gender identity issues and LGBTQ rights?
No, not really. Usually if he did talk about politics stuff, it was relating to Trump or current like policies being like issued or voted on, I think. But yeah.
Oh, I think we reported that this was a family filled with Trump supporters, and you're telling me just he would maybe hear something on the radio and talk about a policy issue. Didn't seem interested. He hated Trump there. You never heard him speak about LGBTQ issues.
Yeah, the furry transgender guy never spoke about gender identity problems. Okay.
Are you telling me that people were trying to essentially launch a civil war between the left and the right, and the very people who claim to be fighting that sort of stuff were actually trying to instigate it? Trying to instigate that left versus right, gay versus straight. This was being initiated by the right because they just couldn't wait to hear anything beyond what the Fed was serving. But there was even more explosive testimony, believe it or not, and it got really scientific. And it came from the ATF on the final day. This is actually my view of the reason that the influencers went positively insane and suddenly pretend that they were made privy to some 4K HD video footage of Tyler Robinson taking the shot on the roof. They, of course, were lying through their teeth. We're going to get to that later. But I believe that the reason they did it, the reason why they went insane, was to overcome the testimony of Caitlin Oliver, okay? Caitlin Oliver was the ATF's forensic biologist, and she gave a devastating testimony it was devastating to the prosecution. And these are the major points from that testimony, okay? First, she explicitly admitted that the media's assertion that Tyler Robinson's DNA was found on the gun was, and I quote, a scientifically indefensible statement. Take a listen.
From a scientific standpoint, you couldn't read the paragraph that sets out the likelihood ratio in your report, whatever the number, and then blast a headline in the media, Mr. Robinson's DNA is found on this item. That's a source attribution, is it not?
Correct, yes.
And that would not be scientifically defensible, would it?
Correct.
Tyler Robinson's lawyer then goes through great pains to show that the media and the influencers took what was essentially scientific jargon and they lied. And I'm going to explain that to you. So I want you to lock in, okay? You may have heard them over and over again stipulating that Tyler Robinson was a major contributor to the DNA sample, right? So if you're uninitiated and you hear that, it sounds like it means Tyler Robinson's DNA was all over the gun. He's a major contributor to the DNA sample. But it actually does not mean that at all. And I want you to take a listen to what she says, and then I'm going to break it down for you further so that you can understand what they did here.
And you can't tell us anything about when the DNA was deposited on the trigger guard or the trigger, correct?
Correct.
You can't tell us anything about whether, when you say it's at least 4, it could be 5, 6, or 7 people with DNA on that trigger or trigger guard, correct?
Correct, which is why we have the major contributor that is suitable for comparison, and the minor contributor is not suitable for comparison due to that complexity.
And again, major, minor just has to do with the levels of DNA you were seeing. It has nothing to do with someone being engaged in activity that is major in relation to the minor contributor.
Yes, so the major contributor is the majority of the DNA contributed to that sample.
Okay.
So I'm going to break that down further and why this is really big, and we're building on something else that she's going to say that is explosive. So the idea of what she's explaining is that, like,
hey guys, we just need 77 more beautiful people to double tap that screen so we can get 100 likes. I appreciate you guys for being here, man. God bless you guys.
This is my mug. I drink out of this mug every day. So I definitively would have the most DNA fingerprints all over this mug. But occasionally, Ashley, my producer, will go fill up the mug. So let's say Ashley, when she fills up the mug, I'm all on the handle. Maybe Ashley just touches her 2 fingers here.
All right, YouTube, I'm done smoking, so don't censor me, okay? I'm done smoking. No more. I promise.
When she fills up the water, okay? She is saying that these are mixed samples. So let's say they just took a sample right here of where Ashley happens to have touched it, but it still also has my fingerprint on it. Ashley could be described as a major contributor to the DNA sample, despite the fact that this is my mug and the majority of this mug has my DNA on it. Ashley could be described because they just carved out that one portion, which happens to have Ashley's DNA on it. So they intentionally misconstrued the intention of the ATF report when they were relying on a sample in which Tyler Robinson was the major contributor of that particular mixed sample. And he also went through great lengths to explain to people why they don't use, since 1996, they actually don't rely on mixed samples for that very reason, because it confuses matters. They try to isolate samples. She then confirms our repeat report, as you just heard her, that there was a minimum of 5 sets of DNA on some of these mixed samples, 4 sets of DNA. Could be more people that actually were also found on the gun, but prints which were found on the gun, which of course included Lance Twiggs. It also included Matt Robinson, Tyler's father. I'm going to guess that it also included his brothers. And of those multiple sets, and this is what is crucial and is explosive, and everyone should have reported on this, she reported that Tyler Robinson's DNA sample was the most degraded. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. Tyler Robinson, despite all of these prints.
Yep. That was yeah, Neo. I mean, I'm doing smoking to like on the stream so I don't get censored. Sorry, now I'm ripped. But so I remember hearing that in the preliminary hearing, right? I remember hearing that and I was like, well, how is that like that's crazy. And when we were going over the data for the DNA and stuff like that, when we were listening to it, remember when it was said in court that, or it was on documents that Lance Twiggs had a conversation with Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson was saying how he was going to go hunting with his family, right? So he needed the engraver or whatever. My thing is, I thought allegedly, it's all alleged. My thoughts was maybe it was Lance at the college that day, right? Or maybe it was someone else. If Tyler Robinson's DNA is the most degraded DNA on that weapon, what if Tyler Robinson really did go hunting, right? Brought the rifle back. Lance Twiggs had his time to do what he did with it as Tyler Robinson's DNA degraded. What if Tyler Robinson and going hunting was the way Tyler Robinson's DNA got on that weapon? Just saying. I mean, that's just, that to me, that may be plausible, right? Oh, Tyler Robinson went hunting, his DNA's on the weapon, we're going to have this person take the weapon, go do this, blah, 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 blah. Allegedly.
On the gun, Tyler Robinson's prints were the most degraded, or his DNA was the most degraded. And I'm going to explain that in a second. Take a listen to her say that.
The 1.3 sample is described as swabs of trigger and trigger guard, right?
Correct.
You didn't do the swabs, but am I correct that you have no way of knowing which part was from the trigger and which part was from the trigger guard?
Correct. So they were swabbed together, so I wouldn't be able to say where the DNA came from.
And that's one of the samples that was degraded, correct?
There were signs of degradation present in that sample, yes.
And you said with regard to that sample, that that was a sample consistent with at least 4 contributors, right?
Correct.
And did what you term the major profile have the largest amount of degradation in that sample?
There was, yes.
Exhibit 1.3, do you know where that swab was taken from?
I'd have to refer back to page 2.
Can we refer back to page 2, please, Kimberly? Thank you.
1.3 is the swabs of the trigger and trigger guard of the rifle.
All right, going back to page 5. And we've had some talk, some testimony from you and some questions for you about the likelihood ratios. What was your conclusion as to the likelihood ratio that you analyzed in this question, in calculation number 3?
I don't think we need this.
The DNA profile was at least one.
Okay, so you heard her say that his was the most degraded of the firearms, and she's talking about the trigger guard and the trigger. She's not sure where they got the sample from, and that's a huge difference because they kept saying that his DNA was on the trigger, and she's admitting it could be the trigger guard. That's just the cover for the trigger. And of all of the samples that were on there, Tyler's was the most degraded. That is an absolute bombshell. Let me explain why. Okay, because it's not possible. For clarity, earlier on, she discusses that DNA can stay on an object for a very long time. She doesn't get specific. I can tell you, and you can research this on your own, DNA can stay on an object for decades, okay? But over time, it can certainly degrade. It can degrade because it's been exposed, and she does.
Yeah, we all know that.
For Tyler's 30-06. That's why he was going through great lengths to get her saying that on record, because 30-inches. The reason why that matters is because it's too small for Tyler's 30-06. That's why he was going through great lengths to get her saying that on record, because 30-06 would begin at 0.308. And then it goes upward, the cartridge diameter goes upward to 0.471. So she's basically admitting it's not Tyler Robinson's gun. I would love to see this go on. I would love to see this go further because, well, if people are going to be able to see the full extent of this trial, you are going to really appreciate the psychological campaign further that is being employed right now, the audacity of these influencers. We return now to exhibit 12.4, okay? 12.4, again, is the original compilation footage. It's the footage of Tyler Robinson or Timothy Chalamet, right? Or Timothy Chalamet. Maybe it's Ben Shapiro. I don't know. Maybe Ben Shapiro's a little too short, but any brunette male right, of a decent height could be walking up these stairs. And they're giving us this compilation of parking garage footage plus footage of Tyler Robinson jumping onto the rooftop. They made it clear on day 2 of the trial that 12.4, this compilation, does not show Tyler Robinson taking the shot. Okay, they made that perfectly clear, and take a listen to that.
Well, and that's the thing. I appreciate you, Bree. Don't stop asking questions. Both sides are correct. We fight for our neighbors. Or we fight our neighbors in our own communities. They laugh in our face and toast us in the high life. 100%, Bree. And that's the thing, you know, the easiest country or the easiest set of people to conquer is a set of people or country who's, you know, divided. You know, they give us all these things to fight amongst ourselves with when it comes to gender, race, ideologies, politics, war. And it's all a distraction from what they're really doing right directly in our face. And we're starting to wake up to it. And it's such a good feeling. And, you know, you can just see that they know, because even like today's stream, we're going over the Tyler Robinson case where we have Candace in the stream, all this other shit. Here are the bots coming in saying, you know, Candace is Candace is so wrong on everything. Could jump patriot. Like, what? Cajun, like, you know what I mean? A bunch of different bots. Like, but I feel like people are waking up. I feel like the sense of community is coming back. You know, maybe more in some places than others. You know, maybe the bigger liberal cities are still whatever. But you know, like my community on 4th of July, I felt like it was really came together to celebrate 250. You know, I hung out the banner outside, and we did great for the 250-year 4th of July. And yeah, it felt a little better. I feel like people are waking up, and it's only going to grow. But what's that turn into, you know? It's inevitable. You know, there's more of us than them, but I don't want violence, but I mean, they're not going to let you protest just to stop what's going on. Like, you're going to have to get that shit back in blood.
If you wouldn't mind just describing a bit more detail.
And again, I don't condone violence.
What this compilation includes.
I don't condone violence, but, you know, the thing is, you know, peace and unity and Jesus Christ.
The compilation shows the movements of what you believe to be Mr. Robinson on Utah Valley University campus, arriving and leaving in a vehicle, arriving and leaving on foot, and then returning and leaving, and then attempting to gain access again in a vehicle. And his movements throughout the day are included in the videos also.
Is there any footage of the alleged shooting?
There is not, Judge.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. So 12.4 does not have any footage, did not capture footage of Tyler Robinson actually taking a shot, who they believe is Tyler Robinson actually taking a shot. Also on day 2, they discussed a piece of footage that was born from 12.4, okay? They discussed it, and it was an exhibit that was labeled 12.1. It was the same footage as 12.4, which we've all seen. That is available. You can go watch that entire footage. You can watch that day 2 of the trial. It is the same footage, but except they claim that they enhanced the footage, and they were very clear about what that meant. This was a whole back and forth about what does it mean? You took 12.4 and you enhanced it, and here is what they said 12.1 was. Take a listen.
You know, before we get into this, like, at the end of the day, dude, to me, when it comes to unity, it comes to a community coming together, you think about politics, gender identity, like all this stupid shit that we think about on the daily basis. Well, some of us, you know, some of these people, and the ideologies they have, and, you know, the shit that the echo chambers they get into on the internet. You know, most of the time, like, if you go somewhere in public or like you do something with some of these people that doesn't have to do any of this stuff, you get along, bro. You know what I mean? It's the ideas and the psyops and the, you know, and the things they're trying to put in our heads that make us feel these ways, but in reality, it's them making us feel like that. You know, in reality, we all get along pretty good, I think, you know? Like, I've had all different races of friends. I came up, never, you know, obviously there's dickheads in every group, you know? But, I don't know, I feel like it's not that hard to unite. Just wake up.
Return again to West Mark Stakes Exhibit 12.1. Again, you've reviewed that video.
Yes.
And the difference between 12.1.
Sorry, guys. You guys know I just smoked, so I just jumbled up a bunch of words, and it was word yarn. My bad.
What's been marked as State's Exhibit 12.1 and 12.4 are, if I understand you correctly, are these enhancements that we've been talking about.
Yes.
And specifically, what be specific about the enhancements, and let's go one at a time.
Okay.
I think there's a reference to either red circles or red highlights. I think
Correct.
That's how Mr. Olson described it. Red highlights.
Yes.
Do you know what he's or what is he referencing by the red highlights, or what do you believe he's referencing?
I believe he's referring to red ovals or circles that were placed over the image to identify specific individuals of note.
I think the next enhancement that has been mentioned that we've talked about
Welcome
is
back,
there's
Allison.
some blurring.
Yes.
Do you know what that? Tell us what that is.
Trying
What
to
blurring
read
do you
chats,
see
sorry.
in what's been marked as State's Exhibit 12.1 that you now don't see in 12.4?
If I recall, there were some individuals in the parking garage footage and their faces were blurred.
Is anything other than faces being blurred? And then the last thing is, I believe, is there's some zooming in and zooming out that's in 12.1 that has been removed
Yes.
from 12.4. What can you tell us about the zooming in and the zooming out?
Predominantly, it's in the area that was referred to as viewing the Losi building rooftop.
Hey, much love, Allison. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate you. Yeah, I just set the goals at any color because it's like, bro, like on YouTube they take 30%. So, you know, any large donations go somewhere else to other links. I appreciate you, Allison. Much love. You didn't have to do all that. I know it's a struggle out here, so I don't expect much. I just love hanging out with you guys. Not saying you're struggling, but I do appreciate the donation. I gotta put your name on the wall. Much love. Sorry if I'm looking down. It's because I'm looking at my phone. Usually I have my computer up here at the chat, but yeah. Much love. I appreciate you, Allison. Thank you so much. I'm gonna see if I can find that black marker quick, bro. God damn it, I shouldn't have smoked. I
believe
smoked.
it
Now
focuses
I can't
on
talk.
the area where Mr. Robinson comes up the stairs and onto the rooftop. Those portions of that particular footage were zoomed in for clarity.
So to reiterate, 12.1 is simply an enhanced video of 12.4. What enhanced means is that it zooms in at the end on the Losi Center portion. When we just see a blur running across, they said we zoomed in on this. And I don't know about you guys. My experience is that when you zoom in, things become less clear on my phone, but I've never claimed to be a tech genius. We're also told that it features highlights, and they've added some red circles like we do often on this show. And they also decided to blur some faces of other people that were in the background during the parking lot shots. They made this clear. Beyond that, they actually showed 12.1 already in courts, but it was for the judge and the witness only, except they made a mistake. And they accidentally left their computer open, so Court TV captured some of that footage. And you can see that it is literally the exact same video as 12.4, but it's been zoomed in. So great work from this ex-user at CanCon for catching that. I don't know if we can pull that up, Sky. Around the 2:35 mark, he zooms in and shows the video. Actually, did you pull that link by any chance? Yeah, let's play that. Let's play this link so you can actually see it yourselves before we watch how the influencers reacted.
Got your name on the wall.
There they are watching it on the screen.
Okay, now you can see that this is the top right quadrant that you would be looking at when the camera moved to where Robinson jumps off. Allegedly, Robinson jumps off the roof. Now, you can't see this here because it's a little difficult. I'll zoom in as much as I can so you guys can see. But the clear identifying image of Tyler Robinson, you're going to see it on this screen. And again, this is at 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 27 seconds on Court TV's day 2 of the trial. Okay, so you're going to see here, correction, it's 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 30 seconds.
1 hour, 17 minutes, and 30 seconds.
He's running across now. I don't know if you can see it because all he is a pixel.
Sorry. I already seen this clip that was being leaked, but
That's all he is a pixel. He's running across right now. Watch.
I can see it.
Yeah, moving at the speed of light. Fuck.
Just saw the pixel.
That's it. That's the enhanced version that everybody wants to condemn this guy on. Again, I'm not saying one way or the other here. I am not saying one way or the other here. But that's the enhanced photo that everybody has seen in the courtroom. That's it. It was leaked by the state. It was on one of the state attorneys.
Fantastic work. He is correct. I fact checked that. We looked at it. We saw them go back and forth about why they didn't want to play it for the public. And sure enough, they made a mistake and accidentally played it for the public. That blur that you just saw. Now, granted, obviously, we're looking at a video of a video, but that's the video. That's it. And it's born of 12.4, which you are free to watch yourself on day 2 of the trial. And you can zoom in yourself and you can see it's still blurry. There was nothing identifying about Tyler Robinson. But that's not why Erica asked the influencers to come, right? She didn't ask the influencers to come to demonstrate the truth or be honest about what they saw. So here is...
You know what's crazy? is that if this was any other person, the evidence would be on point. Obviously, the court has these cases where the evidence is not on point sometimes, but whatever. But how in the prosecution's right mind, in the state's right mind, could they upload one video for evidence and then for another one, for another exhibit, whole separate, waste the court's time, upload the same damn thing? I mean, goddamn. Goddamn.
Is Benny Johnson's reaction to the video. Take a listen.
We're outside of the 4th District Courthouse here in Utah. The Charlie Kirk preliminary murder trial just wrapped, and we were there and witnessed everything. And you have to hear this because it was devastating what we watched. And the judge ruled that you can't see the high definition quality video, 4K, of
4K.
Tyler Robinson committing the murder of Charlie Kirk. But we saw it, and they played it on giant screens inside of the courthouse. You can see clearly Tyler Robinson's face. You can see crystal clear the license plate number on his vehicle, his movements on the rooftop. You can time it up to when Charlie Kirk was murdered. And what you also couldn't see was what happened inside of the courthouse. Erica Kirk was...
Just conveniently, you know, when the cameras can't record and they're not supposed to be recording anything at that moment, you got this crystal clear video. All right, bro. Mm-hmm. You're smoking crack, dog. These people are on crack if they think we're this stupid.
Arms of her mother-in-law, Charlie's mother, Mrs. Kirk. Feet away is Tyler Robinson, pale, sallow, bony, emaciated, staring at the floor the whole time, twitching and looking straight ahead, refuses to watch the video, refuses to make eye contact with
Dude,
the
it's a
camera.
bot.
Emotional day. The judge played all 20 minutes of the high-definition security footage, and the whole courthouse gasped when it was over. It was really tough to watch. The prosecution has a demonstrable, overwhelming case. They said that multiple times. The defense has nothing. They asked minutiae questions about DNA evidence, but the judge was
Make
just
sure you guys
chewing
double tap
along
the screen,
as
man. We
it
just
gets to
need
this 4K video reveal. That will
74
eventually be
more beautiful people. Double tap that screw. Will be 100 likes.
made public. It's already a case that is overwhelming against Tyler Robinson. But once you see this video, you will cast out all of the demons that have been attacking the Kirk family. It has been one of the most grotesque demonic evils that have been visited upon innocent people. It's happened to this beautiful family. Once you see all of the evidence that we saw today, it's over. And that's what the lawyer said today. Please pray. Erica Kirk asked us to do this. Pray for a speedy trial. We have a right to a speedy trial here. It's in our Constitution. We don't have to wait years in order to get to a trial phase here. We want justice to be done. Justice has to be done in this case, and done immediately. So please pray for the Kirks. They've been through enough. Time for justice for the widow. And just a word to all Christians out there. The Bible calls us in the Old Testament, the New Testament, to defend the widow, to defend the orphans, to provide for her, and to stand up for her. And so be a Christian today. Be upright. Please pray for justice in this case and a speedy trial. Thank you. God bless you.
I don't know. It's so shameless and grotesque and dishonest, and the amount of money being spent on this for these emotional assets to come out and wax poetic and then not realize they made a mistake, and now they're all kind of backtracking, being like, oh, no, it doesn't actually show him get shot, but it
Yeah, I know it says I'm at 26 likes. And 74 people in here. I think you're looking at the viewership.
shows him getting into the prone position, and they didn't realize that they had no idea when they all started making these videos to cover up the minutia of the DNA evidence. They were talking about the DNA evidence. Don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to the video that we're telling you was exclusively shown to us, which is, it's crazy, but it was so clear at the very end of day 5, they showed the influencers. 4K HD, perfectly clear. Everyone else was spending 9 hours a day watching every day of the hearing, but they waited till the end to give this gift to the same influencers who have been trying to help the government wage a war against our minds. This is a psychological operation. It is failing. It is, like I said, requiring an unbelievable amount of money. And now I get why they had to file for FARA, right? Like, I mean, people are getting paid. There is no other explanation for how people.
I'm surprised. Usually she has 2 ads on her video. I just now noticed that.
People could lie like this. I mean, I'm shocked. I'm shocked at Benny Johnson. I've never had an issue with Benny Johnson. This gives me an issue with Benny Johnson. How do you lie like that? All of the influencers who came out and lied, this word overwhelming. The reason why they do that sort of repetition, just so you guys understand, is because it's proven effective in the past. It used to work. How many of you guys watching this right now did actually lock down at home and believe that you were going to die from COVID? Wear a mask. 6 feet social distancing. The evidence is overwhelming against Tyler Robinson. They have shown, right, over the course of many decades that these sorts of psychological operations work. If you repeat something enough times, it can become true for some people, even if it defies common sense. Like I said, I was willing to concede points. Like, I've been investigating. It's possible we got something. Nothing that they presented. In fact, the contrary was presented. It's not minute when they're talking about the DNA. It's not minute when the ATF is saying that the most degraded sample was Tyler Robinson's on not the trigger, or not clear if it's the trigger or the trigger cover. That's not minute. That is a crucial detail in which somebody's going to have to explain. Somebody's going to have to explain why Lance Twiggs is not being considered a suspect when his...
That's what I've been saying, bro. How is he buckle swabbed for evidence, for DNA on everything that was found at the crime scene, damn near? I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
DNA's on everything.
It's crazy this is real life. Like, this is real life happening. Like,
his DNA than Tyler's on the gun. That requires a logical explanation, not a unit of influencers that are taking money trying to convince us of the opposite. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a war for your mind. I think you understand that. And they put me on trial in a variety of ways. I don't actually care because I'm built for this. I am not going to watch Charlie Kirk, my friend, be assassinated in broad daylight, watch everyone turn their back on him for money, and sit back idly and allow it to still go. That doesn't work for me. And actually, I am so rested right now and so ready for war that they have... the last 9-10 months was basically me feeling weakened, having watched that in a state of mourning and feeling like every day I was just sort of coming up for air. They're not going to like what comes next because I'm 100% ready for it. And one of the biggest bombshells, which we're going to cover when we get back from a break, I know we're over time, but we got to do it, is Ben Shapiro's admission. We'll be right back. All right, you guys. So I recently went on a trip to Russia and it completely shattered my preconceptions because I was always told Russia was some miserable cultural backwater. Then you actually go there and realize he's being betrayed every single day. I can't wait to get into Turning Point USA and the crash out they had online. Andrew Colvett finally coming up to the surface. Deceitful, the Judas, no question. My dream was on point about who he is, and everyone is now seeing his character. So much so that Ben Shapiro actually ventured out to tell the truth about him and Charlie's relationship, while Andrew really was going to say that Charlie and Ben were friends. It is actually one of the markers for me that something was very wrong was how instantly involved Ben Shapiro was. I said this on the show. I said, Ben Shapiro is acting really weird. He never liked Charlie. Charlie never liked him. This is a known fact. Anybody who knows Charlie Kirk knows that he did not like Ben Shapiro because Ben Shapiro attempted to stop Charlie from rising. It's just a fact. Like everybody else, when he began his career, ooh, that's cool. It's Ben Shapiro. I'd love to work with him. And then you find out about Ben Shapiro's character and how he operates behind the scenes to stop people. Just like Megyn Kelly has had that experience recently. It is just who Ben is. It is how he was raised. And apparently it has a lot to do with his father, who controls accounts and uses pen names to write nice stuff about his son and follows him wherever he works. There is a psychopathology there without question. Now, I kept saying that I don't know how, but I do feel that somehow Ben Shapiro was set up in this. I'll pick up the bloody mic. He races to give $1 million. His company is suffering, but he's giving $1 million to Turning Point USA. Erica allows him to open despite what she knows, which is that her husband didn't like this guy.
More like BB's giving $1 million to TPUSA.
At AmFest, what is going on here? What is actually happening here? Then there was this really strange phone call that I had with Matt Walsh, and I did not know that Ben Shapiro was in town on this date when I had the phone call. I'll talk about that another time because we are pressed for time, but I explained to my team, I made it clear to them on that December day that I just feel like Daily Wire is somehow more involved in this, and I don't really know how. Well, guess what? The answer arrived. Ben Shapiro shared something that is stunning. It is crazy. When we left, we were talking about this car ride. Something is not right about this car ride to the hospital, which Brian Harple is suing me over and using Ben Shapiro's lawyers and Ben Shapiro's brother-in-law to do so, right? Ben Shapiro's lawyers who have been suing me and my family for years because he can't earn, he has to steal. And the courts is a great way to do that. Violations. You violated a non-disparagement. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you into bankruptcy. You can't win without stealing. Well, Ben Shapiro made this admission, which was shocking, about what took place in that very short car ride, approximate 7-minute car ride to the hospital after Charlie got hit. Ben Shapiro was receiving live updates from somebody in that vehicle. Take a listen.
I remember where I was when all this was happening. I was in Los Angeles. I had sort of a breakfast/lunch meeting with somebody. And I got the news that Charlie had been shot. And my security was on the phone with Charlie's security because nobody knew what the hell was going on. While Charlie was still in the back of the car and we were sort of getting updates along the way. There's visual time.
What? Bro, seriously? Bro, these people love to talk about this stuff so much that they just leak shit. I mean, dude, how could you say that on camera? First of all, if this happened, why would Charlie's security even have time to fucking talk to him or call his security? Like, what? You just, he leaked, oh my God, bro. Such an idiot. That's wild, dude. Like, I gotta run that back. I'm sorry, dude.
I was when all this was happening. I was in Los Angeles. I had sort of a breakfast / lunch meeting with somebody. And I got the news that Charlie had been shot. And my security was on the phone with Charlie's security because nobody knew what the hell was going on, while Charlie was still in the back of the car, and we were sort of getting updates along the way. There's visual timelines.
There you go, folks. Ben Shapiro's own mouth. Dude. Ben, you didn't recite this one in the mirror too much, all right, bro? You didn't really recite this one in the mirror as many times as you usually do, so that's why you kind of leaked something tonight, I feel like. You know, you didn't really go over your script good enough. So, you need to get a new teleprompter because it either messed up or whatever the fuck. But that's crazy, bro. That's wild.
To show Charlie's body being carried to a vehicle within minutes of being shot. Apparently, he was still alive at the time. Again, I know that only because my security was talking to his security in the car.
Somebody make that make sense. Go ahead. You're going to have to become a conspiracy theorist to make that make sense. This is the enemy of Charlie Kirk is telling you that he was receiving live updates during 7 minutes, critical minutes, while Charlie was bleeding in the backseat, while Brian Harpole, let's go back and actually show our diagram. Brian Harpole stipulates that it couldn't have been him that was writing those updates because he was just packing like 40 feet of gauze into Charlie's neck. And it couldn't have been Rick Cutler because Rick Cutler had him. He had the tattoo. He was holding his brother. He saw the tattoo with 2 hands because the door was wide open because Charlie's so tall he was hanging out. And there's evidence of that because they caught a police tail. Then we have Frank Turek. Now, his story, I will say, is a little complicated. We are told he was praying in the backseat, but also Frank says that he started CPR. But Brian Harpole says no such thing took place because CPR would have been the wrong thing to do while he was bleeding. Gets a little... Frank Turek is an option, for sure. Yeah, Frank Turek is an option of someone who could have been statusing Ben Shapiro's security during this time. We've got Dan Flood and Justin Davis. Justin Davis was driving upwards to 100 miles per hour. I'm going to say he didn't phone Ben Shapiro's or answer the phone call of Ben Shapiro's security to update him because he was focused on the road. That would make the most sense. If the story that Brian Harpole told was true, that leaves us with Dan Flood. Either Dan Flood or Frank Turek were providing updates. But it couldn't have been Frank Turek. I'm sorry, I've lost my mind. Frank Turek left his kids on FaceTime. I'm so sorry. We're playing Guess Who right now. Frank Turek's down. He's down. Remember, his phone, he just didn't even realize while he was praying out loud, his kids were just left on the phone on FaceTime because that's what he was doing. So it can't be Frank. You're down. Bye-bye, Brian. Bye-bye, Rick Cutler. Justin and Dan. In this dark game of Guess Who? Which one of you guys called 911? Because they've never said who called 911 because the 911 calls that were released show that neither of them called 911. Is there a missing 911 call? Why would we not have it? That's public information. Who called 911? Someone called 911 and then called Ben's security or answered Ben's security's call and provided updates. So Ben knew what was happening before the rest of the world found out around 12:38 p.m. By the time that video began making the rounds, it was 12:38 p.m. If you go back and check on X, Ben knew sooner because someone in that car informed his security that Charlie had been hit. Rather than focusing on the chaos of trying to save Charlie's life, they said, you know what? 911 can wait. Ben needs an update right now. I know what my gut is telling me about Charlie's assassination. I've been clear on the fact that I believe Israel is involved, and I've been clear on the fact that there is something very dark about the history of Ben Shapiro, the way that he stalks and obsesses. I've made it clear on this show that it's getting to a point when you get fired from a company and for 2.5 years, they stalk you via the court system, there's something that starts to feel dangerous about it. And I've been saying he's too close to this situation. Ben is just too close.
Why would they call 911? Well, first of all, they would call 911 to inform them of what happened and let them know what route they're driving to what hospital so they could inform the hospitals to get ready to receive him, right? I mean, 911 isn't just for the cops and shit. Like, they're going to coordinate with these people so they can get them into the surgery room or wherever as fast as possible, right?
Close to this situation for someone who was not friends with Charlie Kirk. And the panic of which a bunch of influencers then tried to come out and persuade the public that this was normal, that they were all receiving up, that they're lying through their teeth. Tim Pool is lying through his teeth.
Yeah, it seems like everybody was just on their phone, right? I mean, fuck, you hear all the stories, you see what's up. Everybody's just making a call.
Not receive updates from somebody in that car about Charlie's status. Jeremy Boring, who just wanted to insert himself, jumped in and tried to pretend that it was my security that was getting those updates. I confirmed that is a lie. They said they were not on the phone with anybody in that car during those crucial minutes. Okay? Jeremy Boring lied through his teeth. So who on Ben's IDF Israeli Mossad security apparatus team, former IDF, was receiving updates about Charlie's condition and why? And who was Ben Shapiro at lunch with? In fact, I'd like to know so much that if somebody can provide evidence of who he was at lunch with, because I have a hunch of who he was with in LA when this happened, I will put up $10,000 bounty on that piece of information.
Okay. Let's get in this one.
All right, you guys. Happy
We're
Tuesday.
trying to
We have a
speed
very
run through 'em,
interesting
man.
show.
Because I feel like the only person to watch during these trials is Candace, right? I haven't covered her for a few months. But my thing is, you know, she has so much information. We went through so much investigating while watching her and doing our own research. And I feel like, you know, she knows so much behind the scenes that she's the only one to react to and get info from right now, to be honest with you.
For you today.
Definitely not Talmud Tatum, who rolls up to it like a red carpet event and makes it content. So
a lot of prepping. Because like I said, the obvious point of this assault from the overwhelmed influencers is to distract us from the actual investigation. A lot of stuff is coming up. And so we have to return to it with a very interesting lead regarding that unidentified object in the back seat of Charlie's SUV, the one that he took to the hospital. Well, they were supposed to be providing life-saving measures to him. At the same time, Ben Shapiro was getting updates, a lot going on. What we didn't expect was to receive a flurry of emails regarding what that object might be. It's very interesting. Also, Blakey Neff, man, he is drawing, I guess, a very interesting blank regarding what he was doing on the morning of September 10th. It's bizarre. I'm going to let you hear what he has to say, what he doesn't remember. Strange day to not remember things. There's an entire portion of that morning that he just doesn't remember anything. And I have a hunch about why that might be. The person he seems to be protecting, very obvious to me. Lastly, Andrew Colbert accidentally admits that I'm not a liar while accusing me of being a liar. It was really strange. He's a total doofus, as we already know. But there seems to be sort of a corporate-wide crash out that's happening right now. And frankly, they're all just saying too much. So let's see what we can learn from them. Welcome back. And before we went on air, we released more photos from inside the vehicle that Charlie was transported to the hospital in, and you can make out what looks to us to be those shards of glass from the road mic. There was this one identifiable object that was left in the back of the car. You guys might remember it, the one that I remarked sort of looked like a burnt piece of cardboard. I didn't really know what to make of it. Why does this look like a burnt piece of cardboard with blood, but sort of thickened? Here it is, a little closer here. Well, we opened that question to you guys because I'm not an expert at everything. What I am good at is trusting other people to be experts at things and accumulating a bunch of information from them. And when I see a pattern in the emails emerge, I suspect that there's something there. And there certainly was a pattern that emerged. We had, oddly, people in the fashion industry reaching out, a ton of them, insisting immediately and persistently that what we were looking at was the remains of a t-shirt. Huh? I went, what? Excuse me? Okay, what are we talking about? We had a range, by the way. We had people who were stay-at-home mothers who have sewed their own kids' clothing, people in the fashion industry, and on top of that, doctors, plastic surgeons who emailed and said, you are looking at a shirt. So with that full spectrum, I thought, we got to take a look at this. They were informing me that when polyester mix or polyester, entirely polyester shirts burn.
Why would a plastic surgeon say that it's paper? Like, how the fuck is a plastic surgeon an expert in that field? Like, what? In identifying that picture. I'm sorry, Candace, but that sounds a little wild.
They turn into what looks like an almost hardened plastic or cardboard. And I'm going to read you just one of these comments and one of these emails so you can just, I guess, see what we were receiving. Here's a YouTube comment that came in. Really bad internet here. I tried to respond when talking about the little square thick piece. I've been making clothing for years as a mother of 10. This piece is a collar from the t-shirt. The black would more than likely be from the burning of the explosion, but the thick folded and end that's facing the camera, most surely the bias band, the seam.
You know, you can kind of see it right here. Like, right, I guess right here, maybe like the seam, like this part that's right under where your collar part is here. Maybe that's it. But to me, like, I'm sorry, like, remember when it was said that he had like a thin body armor on, right? That it wasn't full body armor, but it was like a thin body armor. And they make that body armor in this like skin color and browns like this. And my first thought was, well, if the mic exploded, it could have been some of his body armor laying there. So I still stick to that. I don't know if this to me just does not look like a burnt shirt. Could be though. I mean, maybe he was wearing a really thick white shirt, but yeah, I don't know.
The thick folded and end that's facing the camera, most surely
I'll be right back,
the
guys.
bias band, the seam of the t-shirt that looks clearly cut off. Again, this was echoed by people in the fashion industry. And then from our tips inbox, we got this from an actual doctor. Take a listen to this. I mean, I'm going to read this email to you. It said, please call me a plastic surgery nurse. If you use this, do not use my name, for they are evil, and I take care of too many people in my life for me to be fired or lose my life. I started to email during the question of the pulse oximeter, used one today. The silver, I believe, is the hypothermia blanket that comes in that medical pack. I think you figured that out. Your mind is asking the right questions, but what is the charred, burned thing on the ground? It is his shirt. I have taken care of multiple burns as a plastic and reconstructive surgery nurse, and that is his shirt. How? Just flatten out that bunched up piece, flatten it out in your mind, flip over the right side in your mind. The top part is the bloody top of the white shirt. The back is scorched. Why? How? Because electrical current is hot and the shirt had some polyester in it. When polyester is heated, it melts. It does literally like, it looks literally like a lit cardboard. I had a patient that got burned by a grill and his shirt melted onto his skin, stuck to the skin. Part of it looked just like that. It only had a little polyester in it. Polyester is plastic. It took a procedure called debridement to get the charred shirt off of his skin and spots. The black is necrotic burnt skin, like burning a piece of chicken skin. I'm sorry for the visual, but it is dead skin, burned skin. They likely ripped off his shirt and ripped off his skin. So in my opinion, it is a shirt, burned polyester and charred skin. Do an experiment, find that type of shirt and lay it on an electrical eye on the stove. Think about what it would do to the skin, burn onto it. You see it all the time at blank. You can call a burn MD. Hope that helps. You are in my prayers. Please be safe, really safe. Christ is king and never give up. Go Max. So again, the repetition of these emails made me think that the experts...
My bad, guys. I got the munchies, all right? I got fucking cotton mouth, and this drink isn't helping, so I'm trying to eat some pudding or something to help out so I can do some good commentary for y'all. Much love to everybody, man, who's in here. Make sure you guys double tap screen, get those likes up, help propel me in the algorithm. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here. God bless you guys. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so you can be in every single stream. And yeah, man, support the channel.
The people who work in these industries might know what they're talking about. And I suddenly was looking all over my house for a polyester shirt. Couldn't find one. Best I could do was a mixed polyester shirt. Baron Coleman was here the other day, and he told me that he thinks that that particular shirt that Charlie was wearing was 100% polyester. But the best I could find was a 50% poly mixed shirt this morning. And we are waiting to receive a full polyester one. We went ahead and just started burning stuff. Me and the team went outside and we just started burning the shirt. And I'm going to show you the result that we got. I was totally surprised to see. Of course, we don't have blood on the shirt that we burned, but this is what we got. And I have to tell you guys, I think there is something here when you look at.
What car is this? Because, like, this looks like the exact car in the picture she was shown before, but it's probably just because I smoked. But, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Imagine wearing that in a house fire.
That's the other object. Look at this. Look at this comparison. We did this morning on the right. On the left, you are looking at that remain. And then we had people that were telling us that they think that that portion up top that's quite thickened might even be remnants of the road mic. I don't know about that. But that tippity top part that you're seeing is what she is referring to when she says the collar, the seam. I can see that now. We received another email where a woman is telling me that you're looking at the F of the shirt. I can't quite make that out. But I'm stunned by this. I'm stunned that we were able to replicate that. And it's not perfect. Obviously, an explosion versus us just lighting something in a fire pit is going to be different. But I am stunned by that plausibility. And we're going to keep you posted. I think there is something there. I'm actually trying to get my hands on what was left behind in Charlie's vehicle. I'm ever determined. Moving on to Turning Point USA and their affiliates, they are obviously losing their mind right now. Okay, of that there is no doubt. They are throwing every stone, making every accusation. They are getting their hands really dirty, and in the process, of course, making things infinitely worse for themselves because the genius at the organization, well, he's no longer here. Charlie Kirk was the only one with any brains, it turns out. But you can start to sense this real desperation, and you're wondering where it's coming from. You got to bring influencers to court. Andrew Colvin is all over the place. I mean, and I would say, just taking a look at the big picture, one of the issues is that they lack focus. Even the influencers, they race from one illogical point to the next point, forgetting what their accusations were yesterday that don't add up to their accusations today. At first, the mainstream talking point was Candace secretly loved Charlie. She wanted him to herself. She wanted to be Erica. She wanted to marry Charlie, but he didn't love her. But now they've done a complete 180. While I was in Spain, they shifted gears and they decided, no. Okay, that's not working. It wasn't love. It was the exact opposite. Candace secretly hated Charlie. That's what you're starting to see all over the place. She hated him. That came direct from Andrew Colvett and oddly Blake Neff, who I also feel that I haven't made this clear to you guys. I don't know that man. I don't know that creature. Blake Neff and me.
I don't know that creature. I don't know that creature. That's funny as shit.
We don't go back because he had nothing to do with the Turning Point story. In fact, he never worked for Turning Point USA, if he is to be believed, right? He works on the radio side of things. He didn't even get hired to work with Charlie at all in any capacity until 2022, after he was fired from Fox News or had to move on from Fox News because of some racist comments. He then went to work for Stu Peters, and then he moved on to start working with Charlie after Tucker Carlson recommended him because he's loyal. Blake Neff did not.
Damn, dude. Tucker Carlson recommended him. That's crazy. Going to work for Stu Peters and then going to work for Charlie Kirk is like two different things, dude. Stu Peters is like, well, I guess maybe Charlie Kirk is what made him go over the edge, but he's very intense. Like, he does good work, though.
Return that loyalty. Blake Neff doesn't have a loyal bone in his body. Yet he has been the most vocally invested person, I would say, at Turning Point in making sure that no one asks any questions, that no one investigates the Charlie Kirk murder outside of the federal narrative. Blake watched our episode yesterday, as he does every day. I know Blake personally probably had his routine disrupted while I was gone for 2 weeks. And he tweeted this in response, quite odd. He said, I decided against my better judgment to briefly turn on Candace. Okay, Blake, you watch every episode. And she was spouting some theory about UVU's military-affiliated student hub, MASH, as a part of the conspiracy. Yeah, I think that's enough for me. Remember, Candace privately envied and hated Charlie, and she wants his killer to get away with it. Okay, Blakey. Weird thing to take away from yesterday's episode. We talked about a lot. It's an oddly specific thing to hone in on. That particular detail is something Blake felt that he wanted to immediately dissuade. It's a fact, by the way.
Savage.
It's a fact. And on the third floor of Losey Center, we're seeing all these video people going up and down.
Trust me,
It
I
is
know
the
how much
MASH
the
Student
Masons
Center, the
control for sure.
military-affiliated student center. So of everything that he could be upset with regarding yesterday's episode, why did that fact disturb him? Lest we forget, Blake's truer background is in military strategy. He supported war gaming exercises for the Marine Corps before he was removed from that position following racist commentary. So Blake himself is or was military affiliated, and for whatever reason, his memory regarding September 10th, a day that is etched in my mind in remarkable detail, has grown fuzzy. You see, we have to remember that Charlie had an event before the event, which I said was unusual. It's like they didn't want him to land in Provo. He does this restaurant event, does his last interview with a guy named Andrew Smith. He flies into Salt Lake City, not Provo. Blake Neff was on board that private jet with Charlie to Salt Lake City on that morning. Mikey McCoy was also aboard that jet. Mikey McCoy rented just 2 SUVs in Salt Lake City, which were to meet them. We know that one was carrying Charlie and Mikey McCoy and Frank Turek and John McGovern, who works in gifts at Turning Point USA. He raises money for them. And we assume security. We know it's not Dan Flood to that Savory Fund restaurant event for Charlie's final interview. But it turns out the other SUV, when they landed, carried Blake Neff to, he doesn't know. He doesn't remember. He knows he didn't go to the restaurant event, but he doesn't know where he did went or why he woke up early to go nowhere in Salt Lake City. Where did the SUV go? Who was driving it? What were they doing? I kid you not, Blake Neff jumped onto an X Space and is trying to sell, but he just simply doesn't remember what he did when he declined to just go with Charlie for his final interview. Take a listen, and I'm sorry in advance, a lot of people talking over each other. It's an X Space, so it's a bit of a frustrating listen, but you'll get the point.
At the Savory Fund interview with Andrew Smith before he went to UVU.
And prior, I wasn't at that event. I was in the other SUV.
So where were you in between time? When you got off the plane, where did you go?
I was in the other SUV.
Did you go straight to UVU?
We had 2 SUVs. I was in the one Charlie wasn't in, and I was somewhere. I actually have no idea where they parked it.
What do you mean you don't know where you were?
I'd never been to Utah before.
So you got off the plane with Charlie, you jumped in the other SUV. Where did you go?
We went somewhere. Why would I?
You went.
Dude, he sounds so sus right now. I can hear it in his motherfucking voice, dude. Like, you can hear it in his voice. that he is like trying to make up stuff as he goes. Like, no, he's not even convinced in the sentences he's saying, bro. He's not convinced. He has no like adamant tone on what he's speaking on. That is crazy. I didn't even know this existed. Come on now, bro. I want to replay that shit.
Sorry in advance. There's a lot of people talking over each other. It's an X space, so it's a bit of a frustrating listen, but you'll get the point.
At the Savory Fund interview with Andrew Smith before he went to UVU.
And prior, I wasn't at that event. I was in the other SUV.
So where were you in between time? When you got off the plane, where did you go?
I was in the other SUV.
Did you go straight to? Did you go straight to UVU?
We had 2 SUVs. I was in the one Charlie wasn't in, and I was somewhere. I actually have no idea where they parked it.
What do you mean you don't know where you were?
I'd never been to Utah before. We had.
So you got off the plane with Charlie. You jumped in the other SUV. Where did you go?
We went somewhere. Why would I?
You went somewhere.
Why would I remember that? Like, can you consider for just one moment that I did not know that Charlie was going to.
Did you go straight to the UVU event?
Around the Orem, Utah.
Why would I remember that? Charlie got killed that day. You're so broken up about it. That's your one of your good friends. You love him so much. How do you not think back on every single thing you did that day? Or the past week? 2 weeks? Or a month? You go back and you think, how could I have done this? What was different here? You're telling me, why would you remember that? That's crazy.
Area. We went.
Surely you've been asked these questions by the authorities, right?
Why would I be asked the questions like that by the authorities?
Because you're a key witness to a murder.
No, I'm not. I'm 100.
Surely you can. Hang on. Surely you can remember what you did that morning.
I'm a key witness to Charlie's life. I'm not a particularly important witness to the murder.
So you got off the plane. You got in the SUV. Where did you go? Hang on. Let me finish the question. Where did you go?
What do you mean? Where did I go?
You got off the plane. You got in the SUV.
Did you go to a restaurant? Did you go to a strip club? Where did you go?
We drove somewhere, and because I wasn't going to that event, we just parked and we marked time until the actual Utah Valley event. And
who else was in your car? Did you have a security guy with you?
I don't remember the specific people in my car. I believe.
Come on, Blake.
Dude, again. Either he's just really stupid, like super stupid, or he really thinks that we're gonna believe this shit. And this is the exact epitome of what I was saying earlier, or the exact thing I was saying earlier, which was, these people think we are stupid. He is getting wrecked right now in this Twitter space, and it's either he's really stupid and thinks it's going to work, or he really believes that we're dumb and he can just hop on here and say this shit. Like, that's crazy.
Why would I remember all of these things?
It's pretty easy. It was just you and Danny Phillip.
That might be who it was. Yeah.
You could remember that.
Any takers? Any takers on you flew on a private plane, you landed, and you got into an SUV, and someone just Men in Blacked your memory, and you have no idea where the car went. You have no idea who was driving. You have no idea who was there, because why would you remember? You should remember, because it's like not every day that you take a private plane to a place that you've never been and get into an SUV. It's bizarre. And then you see at the end, someone says, you were with Danny Phillip. Okay, so Danny Phillip flew with them. And then beyond that, I don't know if more people were in the car. Beyond that, the only thing he can remember is that they drove off and they went somewhere unknown to, and I quote, mark time.
Right, Appalachia? It's just crazy to me, bro. Like, this is my thing, right? Like, this is my whole thing. Everybody probably thinks the same, but I'm going to say it. Bro, if I am with Charlie Kirk on the jet or whatever on the way to get these vehicles, and I ride in the opposite vehicle, right? And then this happens later. You're telling me you don't remember exactly where you went beforehand. You don't think about it at all. You're not like rehearsing your day, thinking back shit because you want to know if you might have seen something weird. And you just say, well, I don't remember we went somewhere. I don't remember who was in the car. How the fuck do you not remember who's in the car, bro? Like, it's just stupid shit like that where it's like, how do you get online when that tweet he wrote about Candace got almost 1 million views on Twitter. You're in the spotlight right now. Why are you hopping in the spotlight and trying to perform this lie when it's so obvious? Oh shit! When it's so obviously a lie, you know? Like, I just can't with it, dude. You know, it's wild. At the end of the day, hey man, keep thinking we're that dumb because your time's running up.
Where they went, they don't know. But they went to mark time. I mean, if you don't want to go to the event with Charlie, why wouldn't you just sit in the parking lot at the event that Charlie was going if you're just going to mark time? Ladies and gentlemen, something is very wrong with that lapse. Okay. And a piece of what's wrong and what my mind immediately went to is Danny Phillip. Because who is Danny Phillip? That's an important question, actually. Danny Phillip is very young. He just graduated college in May of 2025. It's hired right out of college to work for Charlie. Danny Phillip, you might recall many moons ago when we discussed Mikey McCoy's call logs. Before Charlie got shot at 12:02, Mikey McCoy was on the phone with Danny Phillip. I thought they were just both at the event. Maybe, I don't know what that phone call was about. And then after Charlie gets shot, he's on the phone for 10 minutes with Danny Phillip. I thought it initially was Danny McCoy. No, it's Danny Phillip, this young kid fresh out of college. And I got to thinking, again, why were there so many of these new young employees that day that were given such VIP roles? Remember, we discussed Catherine Locastro. She was on the plane with Erica, escorting Erica after Charlie died. Why? Why would you take a young girl? Such a serious thing. Do you know each other? Danny Phillip, Charlie Kirk's assistant. That's a pretty big job. I know he had interned for them the previous summer, but he was selected, this young guy, to fly private with Charlie to go to Salt Lake City that morning. But apparently he didn't have to assist Charlie. Charlie Kirk's assistant just went to go mark time with Blake Neff. How old is this guy? 21, 22 years old. He gets awarded a seat on a private jet to then go be ushered into an SUV to sit and do nothing. Well, how about you go get Charlie some water? How about you follow him around and shine his shoes? What are you doing? Who are you? Like I said, you're 21, 22, and you're taking like a $10,000 seat on a private plane so you can go watch Blake Neff breathe? No, we're not being told the truth. Something's not right. Like I said,
yeah, it's like, the way Blake Neff was sitting there saying, "Oh, we went somewhere." I don't know. To me, it's like, and this is all alleged. Guys, remember, I'm stupid. I don't think anything I think is the truth. But it's like, where'd he go? Well, it's said that Tyler Robinson met with somebody from TPUSA. Blake Neff knows who it is, but he doesn't want to say because he doesn't think the person did anything wrong or whatever, that talked to him. That's withholding information, first of all. And second of all, when these questions are being asked to him on this space, it's like parents questioning a kid who snuck out and did something they shouldn't have done. And he's just trying to come up with excuses. And figment of my imagination, remember, I swear he went to go meet Tyler or whoever did this.
In May of 2025, according to his LinkedIn, he graduated from Ohio State University. That's correct. He was running the Turning Point chapter at Ohio State University, or was a part of the Turning Point chapter. And then he went straight to work for Turning Point USA. But this was not a random appointment by any means. And the fact that Blake Neff was reticent to say he was with Danny Phillip made me more interested in Danny Phillip. I went to people at Turning Point and said, "Who is this guy?" Everyone says, "I don't know. We're kind of told it was a family friend, and he got this big job working for Charlie." He's, kind of quiet. So I got to doing what I do best. I said, "Okay, well, who is this guy who got him the job? Why do I feel like there's going to be a connection to Tyler Boyer?" You see, the key to understanding who Danny Phillip is his grandfather, who I was shocked when I discovered who it was because I knew his grandfather personally before he passed in 2021. Thank you, Andrew Colvett, for reminding me. You thought you were surprising the internet about the fight that Charlie and I had. You got to watch more of my show. You got to ask Blake. We already discussed the argument that Charlie and I had regarding Ike Perlmutter, the check, the money. 2019, when I said I felt that people were intentionally, forces were pulling me and Charlie apart. Suddenly, there's this smear campaign calling me anti-Semitic. And at virtually the exact same time, Turning Point had this major donor, was very, I thought, good to me, named Thomas Patrick. Thomas Patrick personally informed
Look at that face.
me via email that Charlie Kirk was lying to me about money. That is Danny Phillip's granddaddy. I got to know who everybody's granddad is, and I
Connections, bro. Constant connections.
I fell apart when I realized who his grandfather was. I said, I know that man. I still have the text messages between me and Charlie regarding Thomas Patrick's email to me. And I'm going, what is happening, Charlie? Literally, what is going on? And now I learned Danny Phillip is his grandson, and I am.
By the way, guys, I do have a super chat goal up of 10 super chats, any color, so that means $1 and above. Super chat your boy. Help support me. Get your name written on the wall. Any large donos, though, above $5, go to the link in my bio to my Ko-Fi and donate through there. YouTube does take a brutal 30%. Make sure you guys like the stream, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be in every live. Come vibe with your boy.
I said, beside myself, I needed a second today to process this because it returns me to the theory that Charlie and I were having our strings pulled. And I'm going to tell you more. Thomas Patrick was the executive vice chairman and CEO of Merrill Lynch. That's wealth management investment firm. He worked there for 25 years in Chicago. Big guy, boss, very connected, very political. Okay,
I'll be right back,
not an easy
guys.
place to make it in, and he was at the top of the food chain until 2003. He was unceremoniously escorted out of his office for a scandal in which he was accused of all things, orchestrating a political smear campaign against Elliot Spitzer, who he didn't like. Now, Merrill Lynch, for the uninitiated, I'm sure you've seen it. You're going, that sounds like Bank of America. Merrill Lynch is the wealth management and investment firm. And like I said, 25 years there is not a short tenure. He was a top guy, top boss, executive vice chairman. And he was so powerful that's stunning for me to process that he played a big role in convincing me that Charlie was moving behind my back. You will note and remember perhaps in 2008, following the financial crisis, Merrill Lynch was acquired by Bank of America. So it became Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. That's going to become relevant because Danny Phillips' father, Stephen Phillip, worked for Bank of America, Merrill Lynch in Chicago. Chicago everywhere. At the same time that he worked at Bank of America, Merrill Lynch in Chicago, so did Tyler Boyer's father, major executive at Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. And he has cleaned the internet of his LinkedIn, graduated from Arizona State University. Another coincidence is that Danny Phillip, his Merrill Lynch, Bank of America dad, also, Tyler speaks Russian, majored in Russian studies. Same for Danny Phillip's dad. I don't know if you remember a long time ago, I was telling you that it is indeed remarkable just how many people at Turning Point USA are fluent in Russian. In fact, I remember that being one of the things that Irina Mappin, married to John Mappin, he's the one who wrote that beautiful letter about Charlie, fiercely loyal, instantly said something's not right. We need to know what happened. He's married to Irina, and Irina is fluent in speaking Russian. And she remarked to me in a private phone call that the thing that struck her as very odd about the memorial event was that everyone was speaking Russian. She was disturbed by how many Russian speakers were in VIP. And that makes sense. You got Tyler Boyer, you've got Elizabeth McCoy and her entire Ukrainian family. You got Rob McCoy, who adopted a girl from Russia. Remember, there are just so many Eastern European never-ending ties when it comes to Turning Point USA. Irina said, I've just never seen so many Russian speakers in Arizona. I bet. Anyway, I want to show you this visual guide that I put together because this Bank of America thing is super interesting to me, okay? So you've got Tom Patrick, major Turning Point donor, Merrill Lynch top brass right before it merged with Bank of America. You've got Stephen Phillip. That's going to be Daniel Phillips' dad, who is the vice president also in Chicago, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Russian studies. You've got Danny Phillip, who gets this job as Charlie Kirk's assistant, just ahead of Charlie Kirk's assassination. On this one, you've got Tyler. Of course, I told you he's the guy who hired everyone. He knows everyone. And his dad, who's an exec at Bank of America. In fact, Tyler Boyer's first job was at Bank of America. And he is, you look him up from the Relic, in looks like New Jersey and Chicago, at the same time as Stephen Phillip. Then you've got, remember Dennis Franzfey, Erica's cousin who showed her around Romania, the Black Sea Rotational Force? Well, at the same time that these guys were at Bank of America, Chicago, so was Erica Franzfey's cousin Dennis. What are the odds? Everyone's just so connected here. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, 2008, 2022. He was also involved in the military before that, as you guys know. After he left the military, he went to work for Bank of America Merrill Lynch and then stopped quickly to show Erica around the Black Sea Rotational Force. So that's interesting. That's really interesting to me. I was interested. I'm going to keep looking into all these people that I thought were just so young and very involved that day and seeing if I could just sort of piece them all together, their families. If everybody goes back, everyone seems to just kind of go back and be in this orbit of Tyler Boyer and co. By the way, funny story, I don't know if you knew this, but Bank of America actually settled with Epstein victims in March of this year. Yeah, they were sued because they were managing wealth, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, of the major Epstein associate, Leon Black. I'm sure you've heard of him. He's all over the Epstein files. And Bank of America moved $170 million to Epstein. The victims sued Bank of America for not following their own protocols and flagging the suspicious financial activities, which they said would have led to the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in a trafficking ring. Anyways, they settled for, I think, like $79 million. That's just an interesting fact that I wanted to share with you all. We'll be right back after a break. All right. We know for a fact Johnny McGovern was with him. We know Mikey McCoy was with him. And we're trying that this report was Charlie Kirk himself. And Charlie didn't care that the NCRI had Johnny Moore on their board. Andrew Colvette's old partner, Johnny Moore, on the board of NCRI when the Christ is King report was published. This twerp. Look at him. Twerp. And then he also was a part, of course, of this report that was published about me, accusing me on the first day of a Tyler Robinson trial of being a digital assassin. I'm sure, even though Andrew Colvette was pushing this report, that he had no idea it was coming up. He's just responding naturally, PR guy. Anyways, entitled Permission to Kill. Look, kill is in red. Ooh, they're serious, guys. focus group sat down and said, let's put the word kill in red. And they have obviously a target gunshot, and then a scope looking at someone, and it says how Candace Owens built a digital assassination culture targeting Erica Kirk. Okay.
It's like that seems to me like a threat, you know? Like if these people are high up, they're against you, you're investigating this, and all of a sudden they have permission to kill, and they have this. I mean, that's how I would take it.
So what is the purpose of this? We should talk about that. I got all of these emails. It wasn't
Yeah,
just
man,
them.
we only need 16 more beautiful people. Double tap that screen. We'll be at 50 likes. Hopefully we can hit 100 before everything's done. But hey, man, much love to everybody, bro. You got a 10 super chat. Go up any super chat. Get your name on the wall. Any super chats above $5. Go to my Ko-Fi link in the bio. YouTube does take a brutal 30%. Much love.
Of organizations while I was on, tons of media groups were reaching out, asking me to comment on this. I think we had Politico. What do you say about the fact that they researched and saw that it's because of you saying Erica's a psychopath was one of their points, calling Erica a psychopath on Sean Ryan, which literally aired that week, that leads to people wanting to kill Erica Kirk? Calling somebody a clinical psychopath makes other people want to kill them? Really? So why aren't you guys doing a report on like Andrew Colvad and Blake Neff? I mean, Blake Neff referred to me as a knife-wielding psychopath on a subway. Did that lead to me getting death threats? Does this only work one way? What about all these influencers that are constantly calling me sociopathic, crazy, a grifter, targeting me, the widow, these people that are going out there and have been non-stop producing content about me since I said, really, Christ is king? Does that put a target on my back? Oh no, it's only Erica. You can't notice when Erica is lying to you and recognize the signs of someone who is clinically dissociated and might actually be a psychopath. Why would I want Erica to be hurt? Why would I want somebody who is dissociated to be hurt? Why can't we discuss clinical terms without you accusing me of murder? Why are you accusing me of setting the groundwork for someone to be harmed? I've never done that. I've never, ever done that. I've never said go out, and I've never even said don't go to Erica's events. Erica's done that. Erica made...
Sorry, I'm looking for like her reactions to what went on in court. Oh shit, Zeus, you scared me. So we'll go to the next live stream. I'm not really trying to hear all the drama shit. I just want to hear what she has to say about the court proceedings.
All right, you guys, I would say happy Wednesday, but England just lost to Argentina, so my house is in a state of mourning. And unfortunately, I have more bad news. Despite our best efforts, no one in the or 95% polyester. I'm going to show you that, a photo of Charlie here, and you can see in the right-hand corner, we have that Carhartt logo. So you guys were sold a cheaper version. It would, however, be interesting to know who had this custom shirt made for Charlie, because I can tell you that also is new. That brand is new. I can, at every Turning Point college stop that I ever did with Charlie, we just wore typically the same t-shirts that the student chapter was wearing, and they were provided for us when we arrived. We'd have like funny, like you saw, like a hymn to whatever was happening to be a little extra controversial. I have to say, I don't think I have ever worn a polyester shirt at Turning Point on campus ever. You could go back and look and let me know. Campus class, whatever the t-shirts were that reflected the tour that we were on is what we were wearing. And here's something that's even more interesting. Remarkably, Megyn Kelly, man, she's kind of the ground zero of, she interviewed all these people early on, and now what they told her is becoming relevant. And she specifically happened to ask one of Charlie's many new assistants about the Freedom shirt. And I'm sorry to report to you guys, but there is going to be just a little touch of amnesia in this clip as well from Charlie's, second or third or fourth assistant, Nate Walker. Take a listen.
Yeah, I was Charlie's executive assistant, the day-to-day Charlie, make sure he has his food, water, clothes, all the stuff that he doesn't need to think about. I would do for him. And
clothes. How'd you do clothes?
Yeah, you figure that out. It was difficult, not the easiest job.
We have the clothing racks in the warehouse.
Yeah, some days I would just have to guess, figure out what is Charlie going to want to wear today, and sometimes I'd be right, sometimes not. But
well, can I ask you? This is not to take it to a darker place, but we're all wearing these Freedom shirts, the same shirt that Charlie was wearing on the day he was killed. What is there a story behind this shirt?
Yeah, so we usually bring a couple shirts to the campus stops, and I asked Charlie in the car. I go, Charlie, what shirt do you want to wear? He goes, I want to wear the Freedom shirt. That's not controversial.
What were the other options?
Ooh, I can't remember.
Like, what
exactly.
did he wear like the one that my son has with Trump giving double middle fingers?
No,
twice.
Not those ones.
It would always say something: "Never surrender. Here I am. Freedom." It was he liked his short tagline.
A lot happening there. Okay, so he went on and did this difficult task of picking out shirts, and then Mikey McCoy comes out and tries to make it seem like it was a really hard thing to pick out a t-shirt. We have the room, it's got a lot of t-shirts, and this guy, Nate Walker, like grabbed a couple, and then I guess turned to Charlie and said, which one would you like to wear? And Charlie said, I don't want to be controversial. I'm not known for being controversial. That's literally why he went on to college campuses and found a turning point. He was like, do you bring the controversy and the discussion there? This is a Charlie that I really don't know. Maybe they're telling the truth. Maybe I really didn't know Charlie and he was just pretending for all these years, because the Charlie I knew, we were dropping black exit from the Democrat Party. We were wearing him too during the peak of Me Too. But Charlie this time said, I'd like a Carhartt shirt because it says freedom and because it's not controversial. And then when she asked, well, what were the other options? He's like, I don't remember. He just blacked out on what other t-shirts he picked. How many options did Charlie need? When did Charlie turn into such a diva? I have so many questions. I just
I need 3 shirts.
Remember us just putting on whatever t-shirt and not even caring at all about that. Anyways, there's that. So I did happen to ask some Turning Point employees, former and current, if Carhartt was one of their vendors. And I was told no, because it's quite an expensive shirt, actually. And I don't remember us having ever worked with them. And so there you go. If you happen to know anything about how or if there was just this one custom shirt made for Charlie, please do send us an email at moretips@CandaceOwens.com. It's just interesting. Another quick update and a thank you also to the person who sent us over the tip that Frank Turek also worked with Bank of America. We did that little chart for you yesterday. And we're like, wow, all of these people's parents were just working at Bank of America Merrill Lynch at the exact same time. How interesting, how fascinating. And it turns out Frank Turek gets to join the crew. For 15 years, he worked as a consultant in New Jersey to Bank of America until 2011. Who knew? I actually am wondering if he happened to cross Tyler Boyer's dad, who temporarily located Tyler and his family to New Jersey during that exact same time frame because he needed to serve as an executive to the Bank of America. It is just incredible. You know, from Bank of America to politics, it kind of makes me want to open a Merrill Lynch account, right? Check out this headline following Frank Turek's ouster. It tells us, this is the Christian Post reporting back in 2011 that he was the Christian consultant and was fired over his book on gay marriage. The article tells us that just months after being fired from Cisco Systems in California over an anti-gay marriage book, Christian consultant Dr. Frank Turek was also given the boot from Bank of America. Turek was doing work on and off for Bank of America for about 15 years, mainly conducting leadership and team building programs. Other clients have included Coca-Cola, Home Depot. Among others, the U.S. Navy veteran was hired in May to present at a meeting of Bank of America's Global Business Management Analysis team, which is within the Global Wealth and Investment Management. Wealth and investment. We talked about that yesterday. I'm just wondering if, did you guys, maybe not. Maybe Bank of America is just a really big bank and you guys all happen to be attached to it at the same time during the same years. The more you know, anyway. Fascinating little tidbit. Anyway, today, what I wanted to discuss with you guys is another portion of the Tyler Robinson hearing, a portion which quite literally made me sit up straight. It was a testimony that was given by Sergeant Jennifer Filomena. She is within the UVU Department of Public Safety. And I was sitting on a couch taking notes on everything with Carrie Prejean Bowler on my side. We were on a couch in Spain. And she will tell you, I completely freaked out. I actually said, wait, rewind that. I'm having a memory. It's floating from the back to the front of my mind. I was a little bit panicked about it. I made her just over and over again. And then I was texting Skylar, whoa. It was a particular portion that caused me to react that way. I want you to listen to what Sergeant Filomena says. And more importantly, I want you to pay attention to her demeanor, the social cues. She's clearly uncomfortable and she's going to suffer from a little bit of amnesia. It's going around. Everyone is suddenly finding Dory. Take a listen.
Yeah, of course. When officers were canvassing the scene, they were also trying to see the route of the shooter as well as just trying to find the shooter. And they determined that the Fulton Library stood out because there were unattended items there at the bus stops that were away from the courtyard area, and so to them they thought it was suspicious.
And were certain items seized? And what were they?
Yes, you had a backpack, a jacket, as well as some gloves, and there may have been some other things. I just don't recall them right now.
And do you recall what the item numbers were of those seizures? Was it 9? Does that ring a bell?
I don't remember.
Whatever was seized was sent to the FBI lab for processing?
Yes.
And along with some information that the suspect may have shed some of these items as he fled, correct?
Yes.
Was a decision at some time made, and you were requesting that both DNA and other type of analysis get done?
Yes.
At some point, did you decide to pull a plug on that?
At the time when it was already sent, we didn't have more information as far as whether or not the evidence that were collected there were probative.
But eventually you communicated to the lab that those items were not in fact connected with the case and there was no need to do further testing.
I don't remember communicating that.
Okay. If that's in the notes of the FBI or the ATF, would that be inconsistent with what you know?
No.
Okay, I mention it because some of the reports, the lab reports, have those items listed.
Okay.
And I just want to be clear that those items, eventually you determined were not related to this case. Would that be fair?
Yeah, that would be fair.
It's a weird time for your memory to go out. You found in, let's call this like the biggest manhunt plausibly ever, biggest assassination without question since JFK, I think bigger than the JFK assassination. Global interest in this case, you're on the manhunt. You find unattended items, a backpack, a jacket and gloves. That's interesting because it was like, what, 90 degrees? So what kind of gloves are we talking that you found unattended at the bus stop by the library? And I wish we had showed you the lead up to this question, because what he's essentially asking her is, you have made it clear that the person who dumped off Losey Center ran this particular route. Just so you guys know, the library is not near the Losey Center. So the reason why that route became significant and why they noticed these abandoned odd items, of which she's only recalling in her fuzzy memory 3 of them, but he goes on to say there was actually 9. And you guys wanted it to be tested and suddenly told the feds not to test it. Do you remember telling the feds not to test it? I don't remember. Okay, well, it's in their notes. Is it correct? Yeah, it's in the notes. It's correct. You don't remember telling them not to test?
That's the whole preliminary hearing. Every single one of them. It's just, I don't know. I don't recall. Or maybe it could have been that he said that. Like, that's just what it was. Like, just dodging answers or giving shitty answers. 100%.
Who was wearing a jacket and gloves? Near the Fulton Library. We're going to talk about why that is relevant. Anyway, the reason that those details immediately jogged my memory was because of that route, right? Back in the early investigation, my early investigation, someone had told me specifically that they were there by the bus stop, and they actually ended up making a report about having seen the alleged Jewish shooter, someone on the roof, and had a totally different description of what the person looked like. Described the person as wearing all black tactical gear and intentionally having every piece of their body covered in black tactical gear. Tactical gloves. You might think, I don't think we're talking winter gloves. Like I said, and somebody can tell me in the chat here, I think it was literally like 85 degrees in Utah. So I think if you found gloves, it's just relevant in general. Who's wearing, bringing, holding, and dropping gloves? And what were the other 6 items that were found? Well, this individual told me that he spoke to students at the bus stop in front of a library, and he also described the gun. And he was able to do that because he happened to also be the only person who captured the gunman on Losey Center in a video as he began lying prone for the shot. You guys remember this video? It was the most widely spread video on that day, I believe, beyond the video of Charlie actually getting hit. I'm talking about the most widely spread video of the shooter allegedly on the rooftop. He's the first one to have circulated that. And I'm going to let you watch the video so you know specifically which one I'm talking about.
Get right up.
Yeah. You think he'd already been placed?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying. He just ran from,
Yo, that's the video I was talking about that I wanted to find for the longest time, bro. And I couldn't find it to show you guys. But this video right here, it just amazes me how it hasn't been questioned more. Like, this guy's sitting here, all this other stuff, and I mean, I when I seen this, I was like, oh damn, like these guys are about to be questioned. What'd you see? What's this? What's that?
over with my finger. Well, from over there, ran in, and now he's right there. Just saying.
The person who recorded this footage is the person that I tracked down. It was not easy to track him down, but I've stayed in touch with him since, and he has never changed his description of the person that he saw on the rooftop and the person that he saw run away off of the rooftop thereafter. He described an individual, like I said, in all black and in tactical gear, plausibly wearing a helmet. And after he realized that the police had arrested the wrong person, I'm referring to decoy boy George Zinn, he walked over to the UVU command center and filed a report and said, that's not the guy. That can't be the guy. He's too old. The feds only contacted him once a few days later. He has never been called by the prosecution. It's weird. You got this case coming up. You would think you would reach out to this person who recorded the video and had an eyewitness.
And not only that, like, dude, the way that video was recorded, and you can see him laying there, it's pretty plausible to think that a lot of other people seen him. Like, he looked like he was laying somewhere where there's like a sidewalk and people walk frequently,
This account. He's also willing to testify. He would be a very credible witness because it happens to be that he works with guns. I want you to take a listen to what he told me. And for reference, this discussion was had on September 25th. So this was just 15 days following Charlie's assassination. And I have intentionally, just so you know, edited out any identifying information regarding who this person is for now until he wants to fully come forward. Take a listen.
About 5 seconds after I stopped recording is when that person fired. And I saw and heard everything but a muzzle flash. So I didn't see a flash come from the edge of his gun. As you can see in the video, I couldn't see the gun at the time. It was just a head and shoulders on the roof. But we felt like the little concussive impact from the shot going off. I thought it sounded like a sharp muzzle report. it sounded more like AR than a large bore hunting rifle, but of course I've never heard of gunfire, around buildings like that. I'm always outside in the desert or something like that. So yes.
In your video, you say that you witnessed him running, and the feds reports say that he dropped onto that Losey Center roof at 12:15. So where did you see him running? Was it right that he like instantly run and dive into the shot, or did you see him run and then started recording after he ran?
Yeah, so it was definitely not 12:15. It was 22, if anything. He was in our line of view for about 30 seconds total, and he ran we saw him clear the edge of the building and bob up and down. He would go down and look around, and then stand up and run maybe 6 feet forward, and then go down, look around again, up 6 feet forward until he got to the edge of the roof. So it looked like a sort of a tactical movement, I would say, which is why I started recording, because I assumed he was a security guard for the event. And that's why I started recording, is because the security guard would be heading towards the main tent and be moving up and down with a long gun in his hand. I was like, that's a little strange. Let's at least record this because this guy is. So by the time I had my phone out, he was.
My question is this, like, this is why I wanted to go over this, because this is leaked information apparently, but if she had this conversation with him, why are we even thinking about the possibility of the microphone then, right? Like, why are we going through all these other rabbit holes when this guy's contradicting everything? Or maybe I'm just tripping. But yeah, let's keep listening because this is interesting.
In position, I was of course only able to film the head and shoulders of him viewing the event there on the roof, and you can tell my video is about 20 seconds. So it took him about 10 seconds to get from the edge of our view to where he laid down to shoot. He was there for 20 seconds while I filmed the video, and then about 5 seconds after I stopped the video, that's when he fired. And then firing, he was maybe on the ground for 5 more seconds before he stood up and absolutely sprinted off the roof.
Okay, and just in what you saw with your eyes, did that look like he was wearing jeans or tactical gear?
No, not jeans. It was all tactical. He definitely had a face mask on. At the range we were at, we were about 175 yards from him. I've looked up after the event. I've kind of done some scoping on Google Maps to see exactly how far we were. I couldn't tell if he was wearing gloves, so I couldn't tell race because all of his skin was covered, but I know he was wearing completely all black.
Fascinating. So I don't why it's very strange that the feds are putting out just a totally different story here, because actually on the police scanner, they described a guy in a face mask and tactical gear. So I think most people called that in, and then suddenly now they're saying he just kind of wore jeans or something. So I'm very confused by that.
No, I agree. And that was my description to the officers on scene. About an hour after the shot rang out, I went back inside the perimeter and I ran to the command center and I showed them my video. I said, you guys have the wrong guy. You got this. It turned out to be George Zinn. You got this old man, and I saw the shooter on the roof. This is what he's wearing. This is how old he looks, because he was running fast as soon as he took the shot. So that couldn't have been some old man. And I thought he was wearing a black tactical helmet as well, because he looked like he had a slightly larger head than normal at that range. But of course, I was far enough that I couldn't really see those details very well.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely all black. And the rifle looked smaller than the Mauser they recovered.
Specifically, he tells me that it looked like a 223, and like I said, he knows guns. I also wish to point out the alleged gunman's movements, jumping down from the roof, going up, down, 6 feet up, down, making tactical movements like this person was trained. He was convinced that this person was a professional. None of that really matches the video that we've seen thus far, which, by the way, they did gut, if I'm correct, a minute out of the video that they showed in court. Nobody really knows why they intentionally removed a minute from the rooftop scene. Is it because they didn't want us to see those tactical movements? Why is this guy not being called? Is it maybe because he thought it was professional? Didn't think it was like just a random guy who woke up one day and tried out an assassination? Maybe someone like real experience? Maybe even military experience? I don't know. But most crucially, he immediately has maintained that that gun looks smaller than 30-06. And
dude, Brian, whatever, bro. You got to be tripping if you really believe what you're typing, dude. That video showed exactly how he was laying on that roof that she showed in the beginning. And he was wearing all black.
He tells me in other conversations that it looked like a 223. So that, I would guess, is probably the reason the prosecution did not want to call him forward. I'm guessing that description doesn't go well with their fed sloppy narrative. And remember, I just want to remind you, in terms of that route, going Losey Center over to the library, which she makes very clear, that's the route that the shooter took. That's why we thought we had to recover these items. But then I don't remember why we decided not to test these items, which sounded like it could be tactical gear. Can't say that convincingly. Can say it's a little hot for a jacket and some gloves. And remember, there was a string of 911 calls about the library in particular, which is, again, not close to the Losey Center. The library was actually subsequently placed onto a lockdown. So why did they not move to test those objects which were abandoned? And I think if you guys know anything about those objects or who found them or what the other objects were, I don't know if I missed it somehow in the filing, please let me know. And I also want to show you this 911 call of people talking about the Fulton Library. Take a listen.
Is on top of the building on the far north side, just east of the library, wearing jeans, black shirt, black vest. Just advising there is another report. Gunshots heard near the library at UVU. They're trying to lock the library down now, still gathering.
She's saying they just got another report of shots fired at UVU library.
Focus student said that the shooter is on top of the building on the far north side, maybe the CS building or just east of the library. He's wearing jeans, black shirt, black mask, long rifle.
What happened there? What are we supposed to make of that? Why did we just ignore all of this? And we can show you on the map here how far the library is from the Losey Center. And again, her demeanor makes me uncomfortable as she's testifying. When you say you just don't remember something on that day, I don't buy it. Everybody had the adrenaline rushing through them. This is going to be the biggest manhunt plausibly in the history of the United States. And you're telling me you just don't remember what happened thereafter. You weren't paying attention when you asked the FBI. Did you ask the FBI to no longer test those items? Or is that the FBI is telling you that you have to now tell the public? Go back and watch. She's testifying and then she just gets really clammy and weird in that moment, in my view. Anyway, we'll be right back after a brief break. All right, you guys, our great nation turned 250 this.
Well, I don't know what to make of that audio that she showed. I mean, at the end of the day, bro.
Who
again,
wasn't?
Yeah, all the information's out in the open, but that just makes me kind of question why is she going down other rabbit holes. I mean, I guess because everything's, up in the air right now, but yeah, I mean, when I first seen that video too, it was like, yep, someone's in some sort of gear, at least, in all black with a vest on. And the person that was running and jumping off the roof did not look like that person that guy recorded and said he recorded and heard the gunshot come from. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see how the court proceeding goes. If it, I feel like the defense is going to be having a lot of witnesses that the prosecution does not want.
Grieving.
It's going to be a big fight in court, putting in motions to suppress evidence and all this other stuff.
A widow who has been grieving for years, who has had many questions and is unsatisfied with a narrative that grows really weaker by the day. Truly, I'm looking at my feed today and people are like, I can't believe that a year ago I just trusted the narrative on Butler. Like people who supported Trump are going, were we completely duped by this narrative? And they can't even imagine themselves asking this question. We revisited the Butler assassination and speculated that Corey Comparator, the only person who lost his life on that day, may have even been targeted. Well, guess what? His widow, Helen, still has questions, and she spoke out and has made it very clear that she is unsatisfied with the investigation. She wasn't ready to go on Barry Weiss 2 weeks later and say she trusts everything 100%, despite seeing nothing. She's fully convinced of what happened to her husband. That's not what Helen did. Helen didn't wear sparkly pantsuit. Helen didn't hire a bunch of influencers to target people that were questioning the narrative. Helen didn't become the firefighter that her husband was and take on his job and say she was qualified because she knew how much he loved to fight fires. She's just a whole different breed of a widow, one that we're familiar with. An actually grieving widow. I just wanted to state that. It's a stunning comparison. Then you see this. What year was Butler? 2000? Somebody remind me of my year. I can't even remember. It's been how many?
24.
It's been, yeah, it has now been 2 years. And she is still grieving and she is still asking questions. And so she sat down for an interview on News Nation and spoke about all of the Secret Service failures. And here's what she had to say.
You've expressed belief that the gunman, Thomas Crooks, didn't act alone.
I don't believe there was another shooter there, but I believe that he was working with somebody. I believe it was an inside job, inside the government somewhere.
And this was political?
Oh, yeah.
Political.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Have you seen evidence to that?
Oh, I've been told things, but I've had something that happened with me that just afterwards, and you're starting to put the pieces together, it just made total sense.
What will help give you closure?
When the people who put this all together that day are caught and it comes out.
So if you had a message for President Trump, what would it be?
Just to don't forget us and remember what we went through that day. You know, we're still here and we need answers.
Wow. It takes a lot of cojones to get on a news, in a news thing like this and say some stuff like that, and that was the first thing. I got banned on TikTok for a long time for saying that right away, but it was pretty obvious, with the tensions that were in the air at the election and everything else, allegedly. There was an inside job done, obviously. Which side was it that did it? No idea. Some say it was the right did it so they could, boost the voting and boost the morale or whatever you call it, because Trump got up and said fight, fight, fight. And then, people say the left did it because they didn't want him to get in. So, but that's sad, man. That takes a lot of balls, man. A lot of balls. Amen to her, bro. I pray out for her. If I remember right, her husband was a firefighter, did great things in this world. And it's sad that she has to sit here and lose the love of her life, father of her kids, to something that has nothing to do with them.
Helen Comparator says it was a year before the Secret Service actually reached out to her. The questions that she did ask, she says they didn't answer them fully, and she's now reaching out to President Trump, hoping that he will intervene, apply pressure, so she can get answers as to what happened here and why.
I don't have to sell Helen Comparator. I don't need to hire influencers to say, you just watch that and your intuition told you that is a woman that is aggrieved. That is a woman that is asking rightful questions. You can still see in her eyes, she's not over. And when they ask her, because why would she be? Are you ready? Why didn't she come out and say, I forgive Matthew Crooks? Because she still, there's no forgiveness until you know the truth. Yeah. Until somebody asks for forgiveness, until somebody says, I am sorry. You know nothing, and I'm good. You took my husband, a father of my children. I'm good. That does not require a billion-dollar campaign to convince you that Helen Comparator is in pain. You don't need the Department of Justice, an emotional asset, boosting a person, interviews with famous people. You don't need Nicki Minaj. You just needed to just listen to Helen Comparator, and you said right there, that's what it looks like. That's what it sounds like. Someone who is not going to be at peace until they get true answers about what happened to their husband, rather than attacking, threatening via lawsuits, calling people names who are asking rightful questions. It's just stunning. Every time you see it, you don't know what it is, but it moves you spiritually, right? It moves you spiritually. When you see it, you know, there it is. The truth, honesty, clarity, perspective. Everybody grieves differently. Nope. No. What do you want her to do? Stay in the house for a year? Yeah. Actually, can I say that on behalf of everybody? When they keep asking this question, what do you expect Erica to do? Stay at home and just grieve? Yeah, I do, actually. Like for a year, at least, minimally, yeah, I did expect that she would stay at home and be aggrieved. I think the whole world actually expected that. And I don't know what sort of reverse psychology this is. We're now making it weird that we think it's weird that she's not doing it. But on behalf of the entire world, yes, we think it's weird. And we expect her to be so torn apart by what happened, angered, on the pursuit, asking all the right questions, teaming up with people who are asking questions, helping them put the pieces together. That is what we expected. You got us. Guilty as charged. We expected her to grieve for minimally a year. Didn't expect her in the office laughing at emoji 6 days later. I got to be honest. I don't know if this makes me a monster. Though a guide to grieving quickly within 6 months and forgiving by the 11th day. No, I'm not buying it. You know what else I'm not buying? And it turns out that you guys are not either. Is the bot campaign, the Israeli influence operation, the FARA docs that were filed following Charlie's assassination, almost immediately following Charlie's assassination. Clock Tower X, we talked about this. The Israeli foreign minister quite literally hiring Brad Parscale, the former Trump campaign manager, his firm Clock Tower X to conduct a digital campaign on behalf of the state of Israel, like we wouldn't notice. The foreign bots in every comment section, calling us names, screaming at us, being absolute psychos. So that's really going to bring us over to their cause, right? Well, Time did an article today, and they're angry. They are angry with Brad Parscale, the government of Israel, because it seems to have backfired. And they are saying that they spent, I believe it was $1.5 million a day. And they're naming names. Eyal Yacovi, I blocked him so long ago. It was so obvious that he was a paid stooge. Every single post, like 300 posts a day. That's a full-time job. That's a full-time job. And when I see these accounts, just block them because I'm like, you're not a real person. And you're obviously just being paid. And he had to own that. They're being paid. We know who they are. And they're using the same words. This is an article that is well worth read, talking about how the trends are obvious because they're all using the same word at the exact same time within seconds of each other. the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson did this. That felt like an Israel influence campaign to me and others who have common sense. And so it talks about how, which I didn't know, that Brad Parscale was the owner or a part owner of the company Influenceable. And that's when they essentially text everyone. They offer them money and they say, go out with the Salem Media Network properties, which we have discussed on the show, targeting Christians, targeting MAGA supporters who are supposed to get behind Trump and say, yeah, Israel, go ahead, do that genocide, do the thing. We love that. Kill some more children. I've been influenced to believe you're the victim as you kill, I guess. And what is at the root of the failure of this campaign, right? What is at the root is people are not stupid. That's it. I honestly don't understand why the Israeli foreign minister didn't reach out to me. I could have consulted and told him why it was going to fail, because people don't want to be disrespected. You think we're so stupid that we can't recognize a sock puppet account? We can't see that it's not possible for someone to be tweeting 300 times a day about one topic. And by the way, you also keep hiring people that have no brain cells, who they don't even want to watch an episode, or this person's stupid. They're name calling, they're nasty. They're not offering anything, just attacking people. You're going to send out attack dogs and expect to make friends. It's a new world. This has been the entire lesson of this year. I suppose there was a time when this worked. Ad spend equal results, right? That works. That is the world that Blake Lively lived in, right? Too big to fail. Icarus just flying toward the sun, never thinking that he might get burned and fall, right? Just getting closer and closer. Well, I'm friends with this person. I know this person. I have contacts. I'm friends with Kash Patel. I can hit up Trump. This is the story of Turning Point USA, the story of Blake Lively. We're too big to fail. And Ryan Reynolds, we're A-listers. And all of these people are failing because we live in a new age, okay? It's just, that's over. That method doesn't work. So what you're going to have to do is respect audiences to make up their own mind. Try articulating an actual reason why they should support you. Try debating people rather than calling them names, being willing to sit down and have a conversation and treat them like human beings rather than like they're people that are so dumb that all you have to do is offer them some influencers online and some bots, and they're not going to have the fortitude to go, no, I don't agree with that because it's wrong. People do have the fortitude, and they're waking up to this. And so that article, like I said, you should go read it in its entirety. It's stunning to see just the entire collapse. I'm so proud of us. I am so proud of us moving away from these people who think, well, we have the money and the connections to destroy you and to sue you if you don't agree with us. Like, it's just so weak. And any person that follows that model is going to fail. Now,
well said. Oh,
and into the future. Anyway, I want to very quickly read this because I had received this tip. And somebody had mentioned to us, I said to you, if you work at a car dealership, because we're kind of looking for what I think could also be decoy Dodge Challengers, to see if you guys rented that car out on the 9th, on the 10th. And somebody mentioned to me, pardon? Oh, yeah, I won't say the person's name, don't worry. Lily starts with, please don't say my name. But this person reached out to us and also reminded us that it could have been somebody rented a car via the app Turo in those areas. So if Salt Lake City, Utah, I would also say Las Vegas, if you have a car and it got rented during those days and it happens to be a gray Dodge Challenger, check that as well. I also heard that there is a very small, where Blake and them landed, there is in the airport, there's a very small rental company. I think it's called like Fox Rentals. And people were wondering if they have a Dodge Challenger and if maybe that's where Blake blacked out. We're just trying to do this to help Blake, by the way. That's it. We just want to help this guy, this bald creature who doesn't remember what he did that morning. And we're here for him. That's what we do here on the show. We help people, even the ones that don't deserve our help. Okay, let's take a quick break.
All right, bro. That's it on that. I'll cover the Epstein stuff tomorrow with JD Vance, man, because JD Vance, oh my God. JD Vance was talking some shit on Epstein and was saying some stuff, man, allegedly contradicting what Trump said. You know, I was surprised when he was on Joe Rogan, because obviously, you know, he's on Joe Rogan. Why wouldn't he? You know, saying that the Epstein files were mishandled and all this other stuff. Here, let's see. Maybe I'll go over just a little bit of it. Let's listen to it.
He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israeli intelligence. We absolutely screwed up the comms of the Epstein files, like we just did. But do I think the reason we screwed up the comms is because we were trying to hide something? No. I think the reason we screwed up the comms of the Epstein files is one, you know, Pam Bondi said, the client list is on my desk, right?
Well, see, they had binders
That's
They were
100%
standing in
right.
front.
But those binders were largely documents that had already been released, right? So let me try to
what was the
defend.
purpose of that performative display of the Epstein files? And she was saying there's tens of thousands.
You could see J.D. Vance was getting pissed right there. He put his head down and everything when he was asking that.
He clearly had connections, like we just did. But do I think the reason we screwed up the Epstein client list is on right
front?
But those binders were largely documents that had already been released.
Watch his head right here.
So let me try to.
What was the
defend.
purpose of that performative display of the Epstein files? And she was saying there's tens of thousands of hours of film.
I don't know what the purpose of it was, but I know that the effect of it was to make people.
Dude, you're the vice president. You're acting like this stuff doesn't run through you. How do you not know what the purpose is? Okay, like what? You're the vice president. How are you gonna not know why they're doing that? Why they're putting that on display? You don't even know what's like what?
Mistrust the entire effort. And what I think was happening, look, I know Pam, I like Pam. I don't think there was anything malicious going on. I think Pam was trying to respond to the political moment. I think she overstated what we had and what we didn't have. And I think that she, got roasted for it publicly. But I definitely think you have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal. And, there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's like worth reading because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite literally trying to accomplish the negotiation objective that the president set for the country. So
what is their position? Like, they're attacking you how?
Oh, it's social media posts. It's they're leaking to reporters. They're attacking me obsessively, saying that we should not be negotiating with Iran. We should just keep the military campaign going indefinitely, and that is their explicit position. And coming after me, saying that people have come after me and say that I'm influenced by Qatar, that I'm influenced by foreign governments, that I take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson, and there's just so much.
Foreign advised Trump.
Don't want to play him. Sorry, YouTube. But yeah, man, I don't know. He was. I can't go over the full Joe Rogan thing, obviously, because probably take my fucking stream down because it's copywritten. But yeah, man, it'd be interesting to go over some more clips. Just hearing him say that, it was obvious he was involved with the highest intelligence in the world and this and that, like alluding to the fact that it could be Mossad or whatever else. It's just, to me, like, yeah. It's gonna be interesting. Like I say it every stream. It's gonna be interesting to see where we are in the next 5 years. But I appreciate everybody for being here, man. God bless you guys. I appreciate you guys for supporting the stream today. Thank you to Allison for the $2 dono and everybody else who supports the channel, even by just liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell and stuff like that. It really does mean a lot. It really does help the channel and help us grow. We are on the road to 100,000 subs, man. Most importantly, right now we're focused on 20K. But we're on the road to that silver plaque. I appreciate every single one of you guys, man. God bless you guys, and I will see you on the other side on the next stream. Stacy, you were probably in the horizontal stream. I don't have that chat up. I appreciate you for being here if you were here though. Much love, bro. Much love there.